Fellas, it's time to just give you the cold hard facts. Are you the average guy? If you are, take a good long look at your screen because this right here is the best you're going to be able to do. And you know why? Because for most of you, this right here is the best that you're able to produce. And there's just the truth. So, prepare to get your feelings hurt here tonight. This is not the place that is going to spare you because it is, you know that this is a place where I'm constantly harping on manhood. I'm constantly harping on adulthood. Unlike your fakers and frauds, I am constantly focusing on what it really will take to change where you are. Because it's very easy to identify the faults in females, in society, in your parents. But it's harder to stop and take a good long look at yourself and face up to the faults sitting right in front of you. That becomes a lot harder to do. So it's time to have a gut check and to be totally honest with yourselves here. Because you might have been a bit startled when you saw that image, and I can understand why. But the truth of the matter is, while biologically you don't like it, and while aesthetically you're not pleased, socially there's a hierarchy, there's a ranking, there's a pecking order based upon whether or not you are fulfilling your gender role. Yes, there are gender roles. It's not set by society. It is set by biology. And as a man, it is going to be imperative on you to fulfill that. Because if you do not, then you are sending out cues to everybody about where you rank in the pecking order. You don't get to opt out of the pecking order, is the first thing I want to tell you. You don't get to opt out. You don't get to make believe that, well, if I don't want to be a part of it, then I'm not subject to it. Everybody is subject to the pecking order. Everyone. You cannot opt out. You cannot get away from it. That is exactly where you are. You can't get away from it. So since you cannot get away from it, then the first thing you have to understand is, well, what can you expect in a situation you can't get away from? Thank you all for joining us here tonight. Thank you to Lit Yimmy Talk and everybody who's contributed tonight on PayPal, CashApp, or Super Chat. Because I want to tell you, most of you guys out there listening to me right now tonight, this is the best you can do. And at best, you'll find some variation on this. But the bottom line is, if you're the average guy, then to be average means to be struggling. And the best you can get when you're a struggling man is a struggling woman, a struggling life, a struggling job, a struggling place to be. Life is a struggle. Understand something. Unless you are just irresponsible, your life will match. It will match a man's level of productivity. Now, let me tell you why it is that a lot of folks don't like this. A lot of fellas don't like this. They don't like this because we've entered a really crazy era where right now you should be able to just call up and dial in what you need. Unfortunately, people end up calling up and dialing in exactly what they want. And that usually is just something that reinforces whatever they want to hear. And the problem with that is, well, what if what you want to hear is that you're okay and people just need to accept you the way you are? Well, just understand under those circumstances, there's always some clowns out there who will be more than happy to set up a channel and tell you whatever nonsense you want to hear. But it's not going to serve you. But I want you to know something even worse. I want you to be aware of something even worse. Why is it that there are so many fellas out here today with so many complaints. Why is that? The reason for that is because they are weak. And as a result, the environment, this is biology again, the environment sees you as weak. Well, if you're weak, you're unfit to survive. And when nature finds an organism that's unfit to survive, it wipes it out. And that's what we're seeing today. That's the result you're seeing today. Those are the complaints that you're hearing now. That's what they're upset over. Because when you are being denied, ostracized, ignored, passed over, that is nature and biology telling you you're not fit to survive. And you might have made it here, but your bloodline will not. That's what needs to change. Oprah Winfrey did the world grievous harm almost 4 decades ago by feeding into female narcissism and vanity and telling the women that there was nothing wrong with them, that everything was just fine, that it was up to the men to accept them the way that they were, that the problem was the men. And Oprah made a lot of money. She made a lot of money. And I've watched her over my lifetime become a little old, decrepit, broken down little old lady. And her life is no better and no happier today than it was 4 decades ago. Only now, she trapped a generation of gullible, vain, cowardly females with her. Now she's got plenty of company in her misery. The problem is that, unfortunately, in the internet age, you now have a group of individuals who are doing the same thing with the males. They're going to make a lot of money off of them while they drag them down into obscurity. But there won't be anything in it for you. That's the problem. Well, what exactly is the issue then? Well, if you ask me, the real problem is we don't have grown men as available role models anymore. That's the problem. We don't have actual grown men as readily available role models. We used to, but we don't anymore. We don't anymore. You see, back in the day, we used to have that. So when young men wanted to know, okay, how do I take control of the environment? They had males who had control of the environment that they could mentor under or just observe. You could pick it up by observation. But right now, we don't have grown men available to be role models to that last generation. The millennials have reached adulthood, and Gen Z is right behind them, and none of them are ready for the responsibilities of masculine leadership. As a group, they are not ready. There will be a few you can cherry pick here and there. And yes, single motherhood has been the chief cause sabotaging it. But the bottom line is they're not ready. And as a result, they have grown into adult, juvenile delinquents is what they've become. They become adult, juvenile delinquents. And you hear a lot of complaining going on over there. But what you don't hear are a bunch of men saying that they've gained mastery and control over their lives and the environment around them. Let me say this clearly. Roasting women is not a solution. It's a pastime. It's a diversion. But it's not a solution. Yes, you do want to identify the issues on the terrain, but the bottom line is it's not a solution. You can't say that you're going to help men if the conversation doesn't center around what the men are going to do to improve themselves. At what point do you just become like the church and you're just saying the same thing over and over every week, but you're not actually fixing the situation? Because fixing the situation is hard. Women are not going to change. The world is not going to change. Fellas, listen to me right now. The world is not going to change. It is not. If you were not ready for adulthood and you feel some kind of way because you were not prepared, then guess what? That's just where you're going to be. You're not prepared. You're not ready, but that's where you are. That's where you are. So you're going to have to fix that problem and that issue. But don't expect the world to change for you, because that's not how it works. Women aren't going to change. Men have to change into men, and the women respond accordingly. And those who do not, the men who don't change, you're going to be penalized. Which is exactly what you're seeing happen right now. We got fellas grabbing blow-up dolls. We got fellas talking about buying professional females, buying sexual contact. Share this program now. They're trying to purchase it and talking like that's normal. Talking like that's sensible and that's normal. That means you are defeated. Let me tell you something. When you pull out money to have access to a female, when there's another fellow who hasn't, that means you have been defeated. I can't believe that some of you clowns out here are letting internet fraudsters sit up here and try to play the Jedi mind trick on you and tell you that paying for females is perfectly normal. There's no female on this planet who has ever been created who used to have to sit up here and purchase, finance, lease, or rent. So you are letting other defeated Negroes sit up here and play the Jedi mind trick on you and tell you that that's normal, and you're not immediately stomping that out and saying, man, who is this lame ass? And it is the best you can do. It is the best that you can do. Especially if you're still listening to that nonsense from those people, then that's the best you can do. These have become enclaves for average dudes in a world and an environment that does not reward being average. It doesn't reward that. It's hard for you to accept that because for a lot of you, you were never prepared or equipped to be able to excel. So now people are using words that are not in your vocabulary. They're using words that aren't in your vocabulary, and you are finding yourself in a bad position. You're not ready, so instead of getting ready, you're listening to frauds. And instead of getting ready, you're getting offended. And as a result, this is the best you can do. This is the best you can do. A few years ago, when I first started talking about this, there were a group of overgrown man babies. They literally I want you all to listen to me. They literally got upset. They were on Facebook. They went off into their little Dennis the Menace, No Girls Allowed Club rooms. And oh boy, I was the topic of conversation. It was pathetic. It was pathetic because they were sitting there talking about Jason's wrong and this, that, and the other. And then people, as embarrassing as this will sound, I swear on a stack. Not just one Bible, but a stack of Bibles. They were in there talking about, if a female don't accept my manga collection and my anime collection, then I don't need her. Some of y'all were there and saw it. They literally said that. That if a female can't accept his manga collection and his anime collection, he don't need them. Grown men now. Some of them were in their 20s, yeah, but dude, you're grown. You're a grown-ass man. At what point does your life move from being a teenager to being a grown damn man? But if you don't have a frame of reference, that's going to be bothersome. Now, I want you to understand that sounds bad to females, But do you know who else it sounds bad to? It sounds bad to other grown-ass men. It sounds bad to us. Because what this means is you looking for somebody else to sit up here and nurture you and take care of you. There isn't anything about you that excels. So in other words, if our back is against the wall and survival is at stake, we ain't gonna be able to count on you. You'll be a grown male complaining about what other grown men aren't doing for you. You see, that's one thing when you hear from females. That's one thing when you hear from females. It's another thing when you hear from a grown-ass man talking about what other people are supposed to be doing for him. Well, why is that? Why is that the issue? Well, Jason, why is it that I can't just say, well, screw it. I'm going to do whatever it is for me, and it's all about me, so it be for me. Let me go ahead and explain something to you. To some of the man babies who've been sitting here with the perfume dons and the moist and fit, or fresh and moist and misfit, whatever. Let me explain something to you. When you go around telling people, well, it doesn't matter what other folks think, I'm going to be worried about what I want. Just understand that's a useless male. A male's prerogative for existing is to be provider and protector of the women, of the children, of the society. That is what you are. That is what nature and biology has made you to be. That is what you're supposed to be. And the moment you say it's about me, then you have abandoned your post as protector and provider. You have abandoned it. Let me explain to you right quick the way that nature works. Here's the way in which nature works, people. The female is supposed to decide who has the ability to procreate and reproduce. She's supposed to take a look at herself and how well she can survive. And then she's supposed to be able to determine who is the male who will best ensure that. The problem is that right now things are so screwed up, life is so damn easy, and we have allowed things to get so damn far out of control that females no longer judge males based on their ability to do the basics of survival. They don't prioritize that. The females fool themselves into believing that if the world were overrun by dinosaurs tomorrow, that they could stop the dinosaurs with her bachelor's degree or her books on feminism. Nonsense and insanity. But this is how silly things have been allowed to degenerate to. But a female is supposed to choose and determine who are the males who are best suited to reproduce. Well, the females have utterly screwed up the job and they've abandoned their post. So you see the mess the world is in now. Well, what is the man's job? The man's job? Now listen carefully, overgrown man babies. What is the man's job in this equation? Oh, that's simple. The man's job is to determine which women and children are suited to survive. Because it is the man who will provide and protect for the women and the children. So the woman decides which men reproduce, but the man decides which women and children will survive. Well, how does a man determine whether or not a female is going to survive? How exactly do they do that? What exactly is the metric that is used? Oh, that's simple. Right there. That's simple. Right there. That's simple. Right there. This is how men pick and choose the females who will survive. This is how men choose that. This is how the men make that decision. I want to give you a little bit of a story here. really, really quickly. There is a newscaster. There is a newscaster in Chicago, I want to say. There's a newscaster in Chicago, Channel 2. Channel 2. Her name is Audrina Begos. I don't think I'm messing it up too badly. Audrina Begos. That's the newscaster I was thinking of here. And I was sitting there looking at it and I was like, wondering here about this young lady, and she looks like an Afro-Latina. Doesn't really matter, to be totally honest with you here. Went to her Facebook page because I had seen it was a story in Chicago that I was looking at, and I was trying to figure out who in the world this woman was. And I went to her Facebook page, and she's got some videos up. And in one of them, she's talking about how she's a proud dog mom. And that, it says it on her Facebook page that she thinks she kisses on her dog too much. Right there. In today's times, people, that right there, that's all you need to know. Now, she might be dating somebody. She might be married. I'm not sure. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. What I'm saying is the red flags and warning signs are all over the damn place. They're all over the damn place. And that's not supposed to be allowed. As men, it is our responsibility to find the females who are not worthy of protection and provision. And it is our job after the fact to make sure that anybody who is not performing her feminine duties of maintaining the excellence of the society, she does not get protection and provision. That's what men are supposed to do. We are supposed to discipline the society. We are supposed to be the strict control of the society. That's what you don't have right now. Not that there are not men trying, but they've been outnumbered by the bastard babies, by the overgrown man babies. They've been outnumbered by the average dude. They've been outnumbered by the cogs in the machine. They've been outnumbered by the fellas who are okay with their Xbox and their Air Jordans. They've been outnumbered by individuals who aren't building anything and the bastard baby making mamas who created them. And as a result, now here's the crazy thing about it. Understand something, just like the females do not change. For those of you who aren't members of my Patreon or whatnot, or you didn't hear the last program that I did here, understand something. Female nature isn't going to change. Let's be very, very clear. Female nature is not going to change. If you heard my video about Hold This L, about Rihanna and her loser situation with A$AP Rocky, and he is A$AP. But in any case, remember there was a size 24 from California. She's in California, Los Angeles, Latina, size 24. 24. Like the TV show. And I'd like to tell you that she was the only one who called in last week. That would be wrong. Okay, here's the problem. She might be a size 24. Yeah, she is. But she wants a high-level man. She wants a dude making six figures. She wants a dude who can take care of her. And she wasn't the only one who called in last week. My patrons heard the other one. And Guess what? The other one wanted the same thing. Size 24, but if she has her preferences in men, I'm gonna get me a 6-figure dude. That is literally what they were saying. That's literally what they were saying. So even though it is obvious that they shouldn't qualify for it, they still want it. Go ahead and hit my likes for me, everybody. The haters are trying to keep my likes down. Go ahead and hit the likes for me, because this is a session that we need to have tonight. It's not a roasting session. It's a teaching moment. Go ahead and hit my likes for me. YouTube and the haters are trying to keep the likes down. Let's let folk know people are feeling this, because this is reality. It doesn't matter whether a female is a size 2 or a size 24. At the end of the day, they are all looking for the same caliber of male. They are all holding out for the same one. They all want the best deal they can possibly get. None of them are looking to go to the bottom, because they understand the caliber of male that they are able to actually attach themselves to. That is going to be the biggest determinant in how they survive and if they survive. They understand that. Now, whether they learn this early or whether they're stupid and learn this late, the bottom line is they eventually realize it is the man I'm with that's going to determine how I survive and if I survive. Even if you are not anybody's prime choice, you understand it. You understand it. And you still want it, even if you know that you are not anybody's prime choice. Well, guess what? The fellas are the same way. Even if he doesn't actually qualify, even if he isn't their prime target, even if he isn't their prime candidate, guess what? The fellas, the males, biologically, no matter how bad he's doing, no matter how rough it is, no matter how much he's underachieving, no matter how much he doesn't qualify for it, no matter how much he doesn't even really, he's socially awkward and can't even really hold a conversation or have anything that would interest other people, guess what? That guy Yes, we understand that YouTube is hating, which is why I was telling y'all, go ahead and hit my likes for me. We're rolling really good about it, but you know YouTube is going to hate on it because they have to. Go ahead and hit my likes for me. Go ahead and do that. You know they're going to hate on it. You know they're going to go ahead and hate on it because they would much rather hear something else. Let's be very, very clear. It's not accidental. YouTube is in on it. They want to direct everybody to places where they can sit around and throw mud at each other and not actually get anything done. That's what they're trying to boost and promote. That's what the machine wants to promote. They don't actually want you having answers and solutions to your problems. So go ahead and hit my likes for me here. If you've been watching here, go ahead and refresh it. But we're still here on the scene. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Let's be clear. It doesn't matter how unsuited the male is. It doesn't matter how unprepared he is. It doesn't matter how bad his situation is. At the end of the day, even though this is what he qualifies for, biologically, he still wants the best. Even if he's not ready, even if he's not prepared, even if she doesn't want it, even if they're not a match. Yeah, guess what? The fellas have the same thing. Just because he is a 4 or a 5 on the rating scale, he still wants a female who's a 10. It doesn't matter that he doesn't qualify for it. It doesn't matter that she's not interested. It doesn't matter that she's not buying what he's selling. He still wants it. And that's where it comes up at. So they're not going to let little things like reality get in their way. So to the fellas who are listening here tonight, just understand you might not like this picture and everything. You might not like it. And you might not like some of the others that is implied. But the bottom line is, if this is you, if this is the level of commitment, discipline, excellence that you demonstrate to the world, if you are scared to get out there and make things happen, if you are afraid to excel, if you are worried, if you're stumbling around and shaking your hands clueless because your mammy didn't prepare you and you didn't have a father there, just understand that's a problem. I see a lot of young black males out here, and I'm just going to say it like it is. A lot of these young black males who are listening to me, those of you who are listening here tonight, you're 15, 16, 17 years old. You're going to have to go into rebellion against your mama. You cannot listen to that heifer at all. You're going to have to look out for yourself. And what that means is that you are going to have to find men who are producers. Your mama failed to do it. You're going to have to find men who are producers who will take a young new jack up under their wing and show you the ropes and show you how to be a better man. Now, if you decide that you're going to take after your mammy and do that, just understand your mama will sit there and coddle you. But once you get into the real world, you're going to get decimated. This is a world that has absolutely no mercy and no sympathy for a male who is struggling. None whatsoever. Can I get y'all to share the program and let folks know we're on and doing what we do? You live in a world that has no sympathy and no mercy. So you're sitting your little silly ass there at 14, 15, 16 years old, waiting for the world to treat you the way your mama did. You're waiting for the world to take it easy on you. You're waiting for the world to say, well, if you don't want to do X, Y, Z, well, all right, we got something else for you. The world doesn't treat men that way. The world doesn't treat men that way. You see, your mama can go find some loser out there somewhere. Although, truth be told, that well is drying up very quickly. But your mother has abilities you don't have. To all the strawberry shortcake fruit booty little dudes out there and whatnot, your mammy, no matter what you think she looks like, there's going to be some beta loser out there somewhere who's making $8 an hour, who doesn't have a bunch of other options. And no matter what your mama been telling you all this time, she'll settle for him if he's the last train leaving. She'll take that. She'll take that. You see, women have abilities that you don't have. There are fellas out there who are such colossal losers that women can sit up here and get these guys to sit up here and trick off on them because these are fellas who are starved for anything. So what the women will do is they'll go find 3 or 4 losers on Instagram, see if they can cobble them together and get enough money to help them get through. But you're not going to be able to do that. That isn't the way that it works for men. As a man, you're going to be punished if you're not competent. No one's going to ask you, did anybody show you this? Did anybody tell you this? If they do, they're only just asking rhetorically, look it up. They're only asking, but they don't want an answer. Once you reach a certain point, the world expects you to just have it. And there are a bunch of guys who are angry and upset today because the females are talking to you as if, what, you don't know? Women will not tell you how to be a man. They will just punish you if you're not. The world isn't going to tell you how to be a man at 21. It's just going to punish you if you're not there. If you don't have it, you just get punished mercilessly. And your mammy who sat there emotionally crippling you while you were sitting in front of your Xbox, she'll sit there and shake her head and give up all these damn excuses. Yeah, but that's not going to help you to relearn any of this. That's not going to give you more time. It's not going to give you a do-over. And once you reach a certain point and it becomes very clear that you don't have the ability to produce and that nothing is coming from you and that we live in a world of affluence and the female psyche biologically is not geared to settle if it does not have to. She'll sit there and look a fella in the face and lie the entire time. I don't care how good you think your mama is. She'll sit there and lie the entire time. But at the end of the day, they will not settle if they do not have to. There is something that they expect from you, no matter what else is going on. And it's mathematical. And if you fail to meet this standard, if you fail to accomplish it, if you fail to pull it off, if you fail to perform, then everybody's going to come down on you like a ton of bricks. We've all seen it. We've all seen it. We have all seen it before. There is always that fella out there. He's working the forklift at Lowe's. He's pushing the carts at Target. He's pushing the mop with the broom. There's always that fella that you can take a look at him and see, this is it. He has peaked. He's not going anywhere. He's not going to do anything else. This is where he is. Well, then he starts living a life of subsistence, a life of desperation, a life of eating the scraps. He's going to live a life of eating the scraps. And there's only one type of female who is going to get with a guy who is comfortable living a life of eating the scraps. Just one. And that situation is going to make your life hell. Wait, hold on a second now. I don't want people to get the wrong idea about what I'm saying here. I don't want you to get the wrong idea because I want you to be very, very clear. I want you to be very, very clear. The median income in America is $51,000. The number actually depends on which study you're looking at, but median income is in the neighborhood of $51,000. When you're specifically looking at black male income, all right, now you're looking at the mid-40s, which sounds great and everything unless you live in one of the major American cities, which is where most black people are populated. All I gotta say is New York, Chicago, DC, Atlanta. What you gonna do making $40,000 a year there? But can we be honest? Most of you fellas listening to me right now, that's where you're at. And you are angry and frustrated, which is why whenever some internet fraudsters open up the telephone lines, you all come piling in with your complaints. But it sounds like a bunch of children at a daycare, whining and complaining about their complete and total lack of manhood ability. There is no leadership talking. There is no sense of purpose speaking. There isn't a guy who's walking into the world and conquering his corner of it. Now that's the part that's totally missing. That one is what's not happening. And what these guys try to do now is they try to go find some young, dumb, naive female if they can. But there's a bunch of you who, you get too old for that. And by the time you're too old and too lame, so by the time you actually do land a chick, you're just kind of stuck with whatever was sitting there in the discount bin. You're just kind of sitting with whatever was left over. And you all are very angry and very upset and very furious and very discontent about it. But don't blame the player or the game. Blame your coaches. Because that's the reason you're losing. These are things that you do not wish to hear. Now, I know what you want to hear. If I was a fraud, I would tell you what you want to hear. I would tell you the problem is the females don't motivate you. Well, the problem with that stupid ideology is females are not supposed to motivate you. Motivation is what a man is supposed to bring, just like femininity is what a female is supposed to bring. A female sitting up here talking some lunacy like, I'll act feminine when the right man shows up. No. You're supposed to bring the femininity. You're supposed to have that already. That's supposed to intrinsically be in you. As a man, a woman doesn't give you motivation. A woman gives you incentive. A woman doesn't give you motivation. You are supposed to bring the motivation. The woman brings incentives. You bring the motivation to produce. You bring the motivation to be resourceful. You bring the motivation to stack up more. You bring the motivation. But a woman's not supposed to motivate you to do that. But if I were an internet fraudster, what I would do is I would point the finger at the females and say, you females need to go for Mr. Average. You females let me find out what you females want. We already know what the females want. The real question is, how many of the men out here are actually up to code and up to standard to be able to leverage and negotiate that? How many are actually up to the necessary standard to be able to do that? How many of you are ready? How many of you are sitting there saying, hey, I'm the producer, I'm the bag, I'm the table, and I'm ready? Don't get me wrong, there are a number of you who are, but the brutal reality is you're the minority. Most of these fellas out here aren't ready. Hell, they're barely ready to take care of themselves. Most of them can't. They're just overgrown males. You walk in the front room, every single one of their apartments, if they have a house, it all looks the same. He basically made it to the age of 21, 22, and then essentially he stalled. He made it to the age, so chronologically and physically, he's at the age of 20, 25, 30, but mentally and emotionally, he's a 12-year-old. 13 maybe. But every day he gets up and he's scared of the world. He's frightened of it. He's not going to move any further. He's not going to do anything else. And when you are asking a female to shackle herself to it, you're really only going to have two options. Dumb females and females who do not have any other choice. That she's just got to accept whatever is slung on the table, whatever slop is tossed off at her, she's just going to have to take it. No, she doesn't want it, but she's going to have to take it. What I'm saying here tonight is, if you want to know why being average is a terrible thing, it is because the average male is struggling. And I spent the last few weeks here trying to point this out over and over again because I need the reality and I need the point to get through. The average male, I'm going to speak specifically to black males, the average male is struggling. If you are the average guy sitting here pleading for mercy, sitting here pleading for sympathy, sitting here pleading for everybody to have a little bit more leniency with you, just understand that's not the way the world works. If you are the average guy, you are struggling. If you are the average guy, things aren't moving. They're not progressing. Now, of course, biologically speaking, you got a whole bunch of desires and you have a whole bunch of things you want. You have a whole bunch of expectations. You're like, damn, because the real problem is when you're living in a damn fantasy world where you're sitting taking a look at fantasies all the time, what happens is you see everybody's attracted to the same thing. You want a better life than you've got. So you're sitting up here watching fantasy wealth, things that were done by people who've accomplished a whole lot more. So yeah, you can see the images, but you can't touch it and take part in it. And that plays hell on your psyche. It also leaves you especially vulnerable to individuals who will take advantage of that because they understand you ain't gonna do nothing with it, but they might as well capitalize off your laziness. You won't do anything. So fellas, if you are in your 20s and still getting triggered when someone tells you, you know what, your biggest accomplishment in life shouldn't be your anime and manga collection. If you're a fellow who's still collecting his Tonka toys, if you're a guy who is still talking about clubbing, if you're a fellow who isn't able to show mastery of income and economy, if you're a guy who hasn't done that, if you are a fellow who isn't showing that he has actually discovered and found his purpose in this world, and a female is not a purpose, let me be very, very clear. A female is not a purpose. But if you're a guy who's failed to do that, then yes, you're going to be very angry, very upset, and you might want to have something decent. You might want to have something that makes you feel like, yeah, I'm not lacking anything. You might want that, but the way it's actually going to work out is going to be dramatically different for you. The reason why I discuss manhood, specifically manhood, so much here is because if you're really tired, if you guys, the males, listen to me right now, if you're really tired of the way things are, if you're really unhappy with it, if you really don't like it, if you really are sick of it, if you really feel like you've been betrayed, if you really feel all those things, if that's really where you come down, then what you need to do first and foremost is concentrate on yourself. You cannot change women. That's a fool's errand. You can't change women any more than women can change men. But what you can do is you can influence the environment around you. And the manner in which you influence the environment around you is by showing the environment that you are a different person. Don't attempt to change the world. That is a fool's errand. You only have power over yourself. Change yourself. Become the ultimate, not just a better version, become the ultimate version of yourself. Alter your perspective, alter your behavior. You can't change everybody else's. Alter your own. And when you do that, the rest of the world will have no choice but to alter its behavior for you. It isn't because the world became nice and charitable. It is because it understood it couldn't treat you the same way because you're not the same person that you were. And because you're not the same person that you were, the world is not going to be able to treat you the way that it did. So if somebody is sitting up here and is disserving you, by telling you every time you show up, it's like, well, let's talk about them. Just understand something. There's a reason why I don't have any respect or any regard for most of your therapists and so-called mental health professionals out there. Is because they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're utterly unqualified and they only have one answer to everything. And it's usually the wrong answer. Instead of telling you what you need, they concoct some fantasy scenario of what they want the outcome to be, and then they try to figure out how to steer you toward that outcome, as opposed to steering you where you need to be. And the real danger that males are encountering right now is people are sitting up here telling them what they want to hear, not what they need to know. However, some of you might think that I am in error about this, so therefore, the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933, your personal access code to the program that laid the foundation upon which all of these red pill, MGTOW, high-value posers and frauds holding out for a TV deal. All those guys stole everything that they got from here, but you can hear it from the source untainted. And by the way, I'm also going to invite the females to call in here tonight. So the ladies who are listening, if you are with Mr. Average and you are holding utter contempt for him, I want to give you an opportunity to call in tonight. No judgment. No judgment. But by the way, if you are a female listening to me right now and you're with a guy and you are holding contempt because he is Mr. Xbox, because he is Mr. Rims, because he is Mr. Overgrown Teenager, if you are with him and yet harboring contempt, I want you to go ahead and give us a call as well and tell us your story. So I want to give the women a chance to call in. If you're a woman who wants to call in to talk about that, by the way, just let my mods know that you are on the line. Let them know you're on the line and give them your area code, and we will make sure you get bumped to the front of the line. No fuss, no muss. Let my mods know that you are on the line, and we'll make sure you get bumped to the front of the line. Also, especially make sure you're all sharing the program here tonight, and make sure you also hit the likes. Very, very important that we do that. Very, very important that we do that. Hit the likes and share tonight's program here. We're talking about Mr. Average, a very uncomfortable discussion, but Mr. Average, you're not producing very much. You're not making very much. You're not doing very much. You are not worth very much. So if you'd like to know what you can look forward to, well, look no further. She is the best you can do. It doesn't get better from here. It can get worse, but just understand it doesn't get better. Let's go ahead and open up the telephone lines here. Let me get caller from area code 773. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Joshua from Chicago.
Joshua from Chicago. What's on your mind?
Oh, yeah. I was hearing what you're saying. This morning, funny thing about this morning about it is, I don't know if you know who Edward Anderson is on YouTube. He was saying that the black women are making their own selves as, separate the black man as being something else. Like, their own race, like their own race of women, like their own class, basically.
I hear children screaming behind you.
No, that's upstairs. I'm sorry. I'm in an apartment. I'm sorry, sir.
Okay.
I'm in an apartment.
I don't know.
I don't have a child.
I don't know what your point is, and I don't like people calling me up and dropping other YouTubers' names. I don't know these people, so I can't vouch for them. So, yeah, back to the high chair you go, folks. If he had, by the way, he was one of the guys I was talking about. So yeah, Josh. Yeah, my dude, you might want to work on, your squats, and you might want to work on your deadlift. And, if you stay with her long enough, you'll learn to love her. But yeah, she's the best you can do, Josh. She's the best you can do. So, brutal reality there for you. Caller from area code 616. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is JT from Detroit.
JT from Detroit, and what's on your mind?
I just wanted to give a thank you to my father. Around this time last year, I had called in, and you pointed me in the direction to learn tech. So from there, I learned how to code. I tripled my income, went from making about $30,000 a year, now I'm making about $80,000. So I just want to say thank you, and thank you to my dad.
You are very much welcome, young man. Now, you cannot pay it back, but you can definitely pay it forward. One day you will have the opportunity to do this for other young men. I only ask that you do not judge them. I only ask that you do not say to yourself, well, they will not listen. I didn't have any guarantee that you were going to listen to me. And you don't know what was going through my head while I was talking to you. So don't just assume that I was sitting there like, well, don't worry, JT going to get it. Don't just assume that. And when you have the opportunity to do it for somebody else, do not assume that they will not listen. Do for them what was done for you. That is all I ask.
I respect that. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'll let you have the last word.
No, just thank you, man. You basically changed the whole direction of my life. I'm thinking about long-term now, investing. Basically to change the whole direction of my family too. So now I got something to live for, something to work towards, and just thank you. That's all I got to say. And everybody who's listening right now, find your purpose, align with that, and just work until you get done. You got to put the work in.
That is the only way that anything happens at all. And the sooner that you accept that as a person, the better life will be for you there. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight, JT. Like I say, folks, we build men here. We build men. You find your purpose, and your purpose is not a female. We build men here. Let me get called from area code 937. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Name is Charles, man, in Columbus, Ohio.
Charles in Columbus. What's on your mind?
First thing, I'm kind of new to the whole business YouTube channel, but I'm loving it. I've watched 10 of your videos now, and it's good stuff, man. But I got to take issue with something you said tonight. You said something about, men paying for women for sex or whatever it is. Now, I've done that most of my life, and I'll say it's the best I can do. Being blunt.
Okay.
I'm not attractive. I don't make a lot of money. So I know there's other men on the line who feel the same way. So I think it's unfair to say
if they do
that.
If they do, they're wrong. Because here's the problem, Charles. Would you ever want? Let me ask you a question. How much do you make a year, Charles?
About 34.
Okay. So the first problem is what, Charles?
Well, we could say money, but it's other.
No. No, it's not money. Okay. Remember what I taught you all. There's a reason why the world right now, you all are being so egregiously misinformed because you're listening to internet fraudsters that YouTube and other platforms keep promoting because they love confusion, because black men who actually have the right ideas will become dangerous. So keeping you confused. And by the way, check who these people keep company with. By the way, check who they keep company with. Yeah, some of your rap stars. In any case, no, remember what I taught you. I have a unified ideology. It's consistent. And what I taught you is that don't chase money because money is a side effect. Well, guess what? Poverty is a side effect too. The presence of money or the lack of it is a side effect. A side effect of what? Of pursuing excellence or failing to pursue excellence. So what you're lacking is a purpose, my friend. You don't have any drive. You don't have drive. You don't have ambition. So, sir, what you said is, well, hey, if you're a loser and you are just defeated, then why don't you go buy some sex? Okay, here's the problem. I could never endorse that because I don't want men to adopt the attitude of being a loser and being defeated. I don't want them to adopt that. So I'm not here to tell fellas how to be defeated. They can figure that out on their own. Being defeated takes no effort, which is why you get defeated. Just don't try. I can't help you to not try.
Well, no, but see, here's the deal. Okay, you can't. You can't tell somebody who's unattractive, don't do this. That's the best he can do. Hell, what did Biggie Smalls say? I'm black and ugly as ever. He knew he was ugly.
Okay, but just like Jay-Z, but sir, he said he was black and ugly, but take a look at who he was rolling with, sir. So you're just going to say half the story? You're not going to say the other half? You're going to try that dishonesty? You're going to try that dishonesty? You're going to try that dishonesty? Really? Jay-Z, my money make me handsome.
Yeah, but there's no entitlement to it.
Okay, yeah, you're going to just leave out the whole thing right there so you can try to justify what you're saying. Sir, accomplishment is what attracts a female. They say that females are attracted to power. What they really mean is that females are attracted to accomplishment. They're attracted to a man who is able to find a purpose, stick to it, get on it, and make results out of it. That is what a female is attracted to. How the man, quote unquote, looks. Let's just be very, very clear. Females, you got a bunch of females out there who are straight up 10s, and there were guys who are not. You know why? Because he's focused on being excellent at what he does. The truth of the matter is that females are not interested in a man who is competing with them over who can be the cutest. Females actually don't want a guy who's competing with them to be a fashion plate. They're not competing for the guy who's trying to be the cutest. Because women understand, hell, I can get cute anywhere. Productive? Oh, that's different. I can't get productive just anywhere. Productive is special.
Yeah, but productive, I agree. But productive is also subjective also.
No, it's not. Okay, that's not true.
Because you said another video. I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you. I was going to say in another video you said, well, you know, if you make $40K a year, that's poverty. I'm like, how? As a single person with $40K and no children?
Yes, sir.
That's not poverty, really.
Yes, sir. That's poverty. It sure is. Yes, it is. How do you figure that's not poverty? What is your personal custom definition of poverty that has no bearing on the rest of society or the English language? What's your definition of poverty then?
Poverty to me is like in the projects. That's poverty.
So only the people living in the housing projects are in poverty.
No.
That was what you just said. That was okay. Then you need to work on your definition now, because you just said that. Now he's backtracking already. All right, let's give him another swing at the bat.
No, you asked me my opinion on what poverty is.
I sure did. You gave your answer. You said people in the projects. Now he wants to expand his answer.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. What did you say? I'm sorry.
Now he wants to expand his answer. Yes, sir. You didn't think this over.
No, I wasn't finished. I wasn't finished speaking.
You were finished. You were finished. You just didn't think this through very thoroughly. That's all.
I'm fully aware there are people in other areas that are poor. I'm just saying, in my mind, what I see, what I'm accustomed to, who I know, who I've seen, they're hurting the worst. It may not be true. I'm just my experience.
Okay.
I know there are poor people struggling in the suburbs.
Let's try
that single house note. I know that.
Okay. Let's try this a different way. Poverty is a measurement of your ability. Poverty is like middle class. For those of you who don't know where these economic terms come from, poverty is like middle class. The whole concept behind quote unquote middle class is that middle class serves as a springboard to get to the upper class. And there's a reason why they used to call it underclass. Now they call it working class or poverty. There's a reason why we make that distinction, because those people will not be able to leave where they are. Where they're at is like they're in a caste system. And for the most part, where they're at is where they'll die. Because mathematically speaking, they're not going to be able to escape that. So poverty is a distinction. It's not some custom definition that you can apply to it whatever you want to. Well, those people in the housing projects are in poverty. Well, those people in that situation, no, sir. No, it's not. It is, do you have upward mobility? Can you create a better life for your children than you have for yourself? And when you are impoverished, the answer universally is no. Every day looks the same. Now, for you making $30-something thousand a year, and every day looks the same for you. Tomorrow will be no different. Every day looks exactly the same. And if you are with somebody and every day looks exactly the same as the last one, then they don't have very much incentive to stay with you. Because as a man, biologically speaking, there's supposed to be a prerogative that you don't do that. That you are always leading, that you're the leader of the family. A leader is supposed, by definition, to be taking people somewhere. And a female who gets with you isn't going anywhere. You know why? Because he's sitting up here. Did you all hear what he said? First thing he said was, I'm unattractive. As if that matters. As if that's an excuse.
It does matter.
No, sir. How you look, first of all, that's subjective. Productivity is not subjective. What you just said, that's subjective. Attractiveness is subjective. You know what isn't subjective? The rent. Now that's not subjective. And when the rent is due, the person who knows how to pay it is the most handsome dude in the room. Because a woman can respect productivity. As a man, see, here's the reason why mama's boys will never be desired. Because as a man, your biological prerogative is supposed to be results. You're supposed to be a problem solver. That is how we measure male competence. When you're presented with a problem, how well do you face and address and resolve the problem? Whether it is a plumbing issue, a car issue, a financial issue, the family expects that you, as the leader, have the answers. And all you sat here this entire time and said, well, I'm not attractive. Okay, that's not an excuse for not having answers. How you look has no bearing on how well you pass the test. None.
Well, yeah, but I mentioned the whole thing about being unattractive, about the whole prostitution thing.
Okay, but the reason you have to go for prostitutes, brother, is because your self-esteem is so damn low. So yeah, you would have to pay a female to hang around low self-esteem like this. Now, if you ever fix that issue, the females will come looking for you. But as it stands right now, this sad sack routine you got going, yeah, brother, ain't nobody gonna hang out with that for any real length of time. Nobody's gonna hang out with that. So yeah, you're giving them plenty of incentive to leave you alone. You sure are. No female is going to voluntarily spend time with this. And what you don't want to accept is your failure to perform is the reason they don't want to spend time with this. Now you need to focus on fixing that instead of blaming it on, well, it's just fate. Something I have no control over, my looks. That's the reason I'm only making $36,000 a year because of my looks. No, sir. Your looks are not the reason you're underachieving.
That's true. I agree with that.
And it's no excuse either. But the reason you're underachieving is because, as I said at the very beginning, well, the reason the guy buys sex is because he's defeated. And it doesn't matter what kind of frauds you see on the internet. When you got some dude sitting up here telling you about buying it, he's giving you all a sneak peek of the inside of his psyche. He might pretend to be one thing in front of the world, but take a look at what he's doing. When a man throws down cold hard cash for a female, when it's absolutely unnecessary, what he's telling you is, I'm defeated. I'm defeated. Right now.
Well, I mean, it's your opinion.
No, that's not an opinion. Now, let's be very, very clear. That's not subjective either. When a person,
but you can't just say,
when you buy something that you can get for free, that's pleading. What you're saying is that nobody will choose to do this in a world where people choose to do it all the damn time. Hell, they're doing it behind dance clubs and behind liquor stores. They're doing it in the back of cars. And you're not one of them? Why? Because their nature is telling the women, no, not him. And you're trying to blame it on, quote, looks, when in reality it is your lack of character and self-esteem. The fact that you are comfortable being defeated, that's the reason that the females are not choosing you. You're not even pretending that you're not defeated. You're walking in the door. Yep, I'm beat. Where's women's? And that's the reason it's not working for you. Fix that issue. Address that problem. And then you're going to find out everything else is going to change radically for you. But the problem is with you. It's not with your looks. It's not with females' desire for males. It's got nothing to do with that. It's the fact that you are mentally and emotionally defeated. And that is supreme. You completely lack confidence. That's what I really want to tell you. You don't have any confidence. You see, when you're driving a nice car, well, that certainly helps give you confidence. When you're wearing a nice suit, that certainly helps give you confidence. But understand something. Confidence needs a starter. It needs a primer. You totally lack confidence. And there is nothing more unsexy and more unappealing to a female than a male with a complete lack of confidence. And everything you said gushes out of you. I have no confidence. So no wonder.
I agree.
No wonder. So understand what the real problem is. It's not how you look on the outside. It's what's not on the inside. Fix that confidence issue and everything else, your income, your social standing. Oh yeah, and the response you get from females, all of that is going to alter along with it. I want to give you all something to think about. Hollywood actor Mickey Rourke. Take a look at him from back in the 80s and take a look at him now. His face got busted up pretty badly because he was an actor, but for some damn reason, he also wanted to be a professional boxer. So he got wound up getting his face busted up pretty damn well. So if you want to know why he looked one way back in the 80s and looks a certain way now, it's because the plastic surgery didn't exactly go quite the way we would have liked. Maybe he should have chosen a different vocation. But the bottom line is, by the way, he didn't let that stop him from acting. He didn't let that stop him from picking up females neither. Mick Jagger is what, 70-something? And he still hasn't let that stop him. Now, how the hell are they doing that? Well, they're rock stars. You know what? They got confidence, too. Thank you very much for giving us a call here. Like I say, nature and genes are trying to tell you something. Nature and genes are trying to tell you something. Telephone lines are open. The number is 646-787-1933. Let me get caller from area code 386. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello. Yep, this is Mario Jr. from Palm Coast, Florida, by way of Thailand.
All right, Mario Jr. in Thailand. And what's on your mind?
Yeah, I just wanted to see what you thought of my plan, because right now I'm in Thailand being a merchant mariner through the military. So I wanted just to know, my plan is once I make $100,000, I wanted to invest that money into real estate. So by way of like wholesaling and buy holds.
Okay.
So
well, on tonight's program here, Mario, we're discussing something a little bit different. Are you a member of my Patreon?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
well, next time we do our program, Mario, make sure you give me a call in, okay? So we can go ahead and discuss that. But tonight I want to stay focused on what, because you obviously are not Mr. Average. We're trying to talk to the guys who need a lot more help than you do right now. So let me free up a lane for them. But give me a holler this weekend. We'll chop it up then.
Problem.
Like I say, we're staying focused on that. This is not for general calls tonight, fellas. Let me get caller from area code 216. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Oh, that's me?
Caller from area code 647. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason. This is Gray from Toronto.
Gray from Toronto. Speak up, brother. Another fellow with no confidence coming out here. Come on, dudes. Let's get our act together.
I'm sorry about that. So I was just calling regarding, I want to see if I get your opinion on something. So I'm 24. I just finished school about a year ago. I'm only making $45K, and as you said, like, I'm average. I finished back in August. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I finished back in August, and it hasn't been a full year yet. I just want to know what your opinion is of how I can do better.
Okay, you're making $44,000 a year. Making $44,000 a year doing what exactly?
So I went to school for IT, and I graduated with, like, in Canada we have like these things called these 2-year programs. I went to school for IT, and I did that. So that's what I'm currently doing right now, focus on networking.
Okay, the bottom line is, in IT, generally speaking, you're going to have to do one of two things. You're either going to have to expand your skill sets or have computer programming under your belt.
I definitely thought about going the computer programming route.
Okay, you don't have time to think about it. Here's the real issue with IT.
Yeah.
IT is an umbrella term, okay? You need to choose a direction and go in it with everything you got. Don't waste a bunch of time figuring out one. Either expand the number of skill sets, get your Python, HTML, Amazon Web Services, Cisco, Microsoft certified. You're either going to expand those or you're going to go into computer programming. But do not waste a bunch of time. Ooh, let me wring my fingers and wring my hands. Time is wasting. The only wrong decision is to not choose one. That's the only wrong decision. So I can't make that. I cannot make that choice for you, and I will not make that choice for you. You're a grown man.
Yeah.
Those are your two options: expand your skill sets or take on computer programming. But being a man means you choose a direction. It's not about. Let me explain something to you all. It's not about, quote, choosing the right direction. That's a myth. That's a fantasy. What you do as a man is you choose a direction and you make it the right direction. Now, that's what you're really supposed to do. It's not about, well, let me find the right one. No, you choose one and that becomes the right direction because of you. Does that make sense?
It definitely does. It definitely does.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 347. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I am Fred. This is Fred Thomas from Brooklyn. What's going on, Mr. B?
Fred from Brooklyn. What's on your mind?
Yeah, man. What you said the last time, last conversation 2 people ago about confidence is a real big. It's a big difference, you know. Like I'm kind of above average now, but I can recall to a time where I wasn't, and that's what it was for me. It was my confidence because I knew I couldn't. Like I knew I was able to do better. You know what I mean? And it was just something inside of me that just made me feel weak. So whether it was socializing, I just felt awkward in certain situations. I always thought, let's say I was an introvert. You know, people use that word, I'm an introvert. But really what it was is just because I wasn't on my purpose. I didn't have enough confidence in myself. So when I was out in public, I just felt small. So until I just went in monk mode, got on my grind. Like right now, I got my own authority and all that, got my own truck, so I'm doing pretty well. I'm trying to take it to the next level. But during the whole transition, when I had my plan, I felt my confidence just grow, and the people that I was able to associate myself with just in the process of getting to where I'm at now, totally, it was like a total 180 just because I knew where I was going. I saw the light
because
at the end of the
you
tunnel,
changed.
so that made me confident. You know what I mean?
The people around you,
pretty much.
the reality is the people around you did not change. You changed, and that changed the people who were willing to be around you. Let's be very, very clear. Hustle recognizes hustle. Hustle is attracted to hustle. And the problem is people who don't hustle are attracted to non-hustlers either. But hustle is not attracted to a lack of hustle. Producers are attracted to production. So that when you start producing the caliber of people who desire to be around you, that's what begins to alter. You're not chasing these people. They're attracted to you. Right. So that's the element that changes.
And can I add something to that? On top of that, even now that I'm more of a producer, unproductive people are unattractive to me as well. Like certain people that I might have normally would hang around, I don't even want to be around them because it just don't even feel right. The vibe don't feel right, and a lot of toxic situations stem off that. But yeah, you're absolutely right, man, and I appreciate your network. It's good that the internet has somebody like you up here, man.
Well, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. Let me get caller from area code 682. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
I'm Slang. Fort Worth, Texas.
Slang in Fort Worth, and what's on your mind?
Yeah, you were saying like people who don't, they ain't got money like that or whatever, and females looking for somebody who got something bigger. Like I see a whole lot of dudes who don't got too much of nothing, and they be having dimes and all of that. So like, I don't see how you gonna say somebody ain't got money and like they don't got money and they can't get this kind of woman or something. It'd be women taking care of dudes that be sleeping on the couch.
Okay. How old are you, Slang?
I'm 42.
Okay, Slang. So you and I are peers, okay? And that means niggas are too old to be talking like this. They really, really are. Let me clear up a few misconceptions that you have, all right? First of all, your first misconception, and this is a trope that is bandied out by underachievers everywhere. Well, damn, TBA, I know some dudes out there, they ain't doing very much with themselves, and man, they be having dimes, man. They be having dimes. Let's be very, very clear about something. We don't, just like Jay-Z said, you fellas hold money up to your ear, we don't call that money over here. Let's be very, very clear. The females that you call a dime slang, we don't call them dimes over here. The females that you talking about, bruh, we don't call those dimes over here. Those aren't dimes. Those aren't, okay, sir, slang, those aren't dimes on this side of the fence, okay? They're not dimes over here.
So what about a guy who like get with a woman? Because you be talking like a guy that's supposed to pay for everything, but what if a dude, he get with a chick and she got a couple kids already and he make a kid with her and like he's supposed to pay for everything?
Okay. First of all, what in the hell are you doing? If your money is straight and your life is straight, what the hell are you doing with a chick who is a liability? In case you didn't understand, you didn't understand what you just said, and very clearly you don't, so let me articulate it for you. A female coming to you with a bunch of kids by a bunch of people who ain't you, she's got children and they ain't by you. That's called a liability. Did you not know that? Is tonight the first time it dawned on you or somebody ever explained to you that that situation you just described is a liability? You didn't understand that?
Well, it's actually my situation. She had 3 kids when I met her, and I gave her the 4th one.
Right. Yes, you got with a female who was a liability. You didn't understand the value in yourself because, like some of the callers who called earlier, you were struggling, complete and total lack of confidence. You got in where you fit in, and rather than realizing, you know what, if I put in some damn work, things will level up, you didn't do that. And instead, you let her do what females in her position do because there is no incentive for her not to crank out the next bastard kid. Because the state gives control to females in one of 2 positions, marriage or birth. The state will back them up at the altar and they will back them up at the delivery room. If you don't go into either one of those, females don't have power. And what they do is they go look for weak males. No offense, but that's you. They go looking for weak males, easily broken, not very confident, low self-esteem, no purpose, very easily manipulated, easily dominated. He doesn't give a damn about his genes. He has no problem. He doesn't vet the female that he's going to be with. He sees pregnancy as, oh, well, that's I. She goes and looks for a fool who thinks that pregnancy is a game. And she found him. She found yet another one. And there you are.
I have shit, though, when she met me, though. When she met me, I had shit. I was living at my mama's house. All I had was a damn Cadillac. I was on unemployment. That was like, you know,
that was the best she could do. But the problem is she can get a welfare check for the kids. So it's not about what you got, sir. But you already know that.
Now I'm like $40,000 a year. But I mean, for like $45,000 a year. But I mean, still the same situation. I mean, 12 years later, I'm still not married or not shit like that.
Okay, I mean, but 12 years later, and you're still bummy. I mean, that's not cool, man. You're in your 40s now, still bummy at 42, still bummy, dude. This isn't a good
how is it bummy?
Nigga.
Hello?
Did you just ask me
how
that?
How is it bummy? I mean, I make for like around $45,000 a year. She make around like, you know, like 35.
What? Okay, repeat to everybody what city you live in again.
Fort Worth, Texas.
Fort Worth, Texas. Now you do understand I wanted you to repeat that for everybody so they know I didn't go off on what I said next. You do understand that that's my old stomping grounds, right? You do understand that.
I came from Flint, Michigan, though. This shit
Okay.
like Hollywood. This shit great out here compared to Flint, Michigan.
And then you brought your bummy ass down into the middle of it. That's why I'm sick of folk coming to Texas now, because there's a bunch of folk who don't have their lives together and they want to go to a place that does have its act together so they can bring the bummy train.
I was making $13,000 a year in Flint, Michigan. Now I'm making 45.
And look what you
It seems to be a great come up to me.
Yeah. $45,000 is, quote, a great come up to him. And by the way, there was some dumbass broad out there who let this on my phone reproduce. By the way.
She reproduced 3 times before she met me.
Yes, which means she's a useless breeder. If you want to know what is wrong with humanity,
now, why do you want to say something like that, Dave?
because take a look at the bums that she is allowing to reproduce themselves. All they're doing is polluting the environment. There isn't anything positive coming from this. Your genes aren't contributing anything of any value.
Get nothing out of this, like,
no, I'm saying we're not getting it.
Like
no, I'm saying we're not
get
getting anything
better.
out of it. I'm saying that we're not getting anything out of you. You're 42 years old, and you have nothing to show for it. So you're a leech. You've been sucking blood out of the rest of us, but you haven't contributed to anything.
I mean, contributed to what? You saying I can't do nothing better with my life right now at this point?
You're 42 years old. You completely lack ambition, and you think that $45,000 a year in a state where $64,000 is the median income, but you think $45,000 is balling.
Compared to Flint, Michigan.
$45,000 a year, you all. Just understand,
I mean,
he's telling you 45,000 is, he's sitting here, 45,000 is the
still gotta
lick.
go to the pawn shop or some shit.
This dude is
You know
sitting
what I'm
up here
saying?
acting like $45,000 a year is the lick. He's
No, it ain't
literally
like
sitting
that, just
here.
like I told you, motherfuckers
He's sitting here
still
crowing.
got to visit the pawn shop or some shit every now and then. But, you know, it's just a lot better than where I was.
Okay. I stand by what I said, sir, and everything you just said, that's the reason I said it. $45,000 a year is bummy. Especially when you got a kid.
Hey, I was trying to do this trucking shit, man.
When's the last time you saw your kid?
You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
Slang,
my job
when's the last
this
time?
trucking
Okay,
shit for me.
Slang, when's the last time you saw your kid?
My child lives with me.
Okay, why don't they live with their mother?
We all live together.
Okay.
We all live together.
Everyone, I'm having the.
Well, actually, but
okay, Slang, don't talk over the host. You ain't that drunk. Let's not talk over the host. Everyone, I'm having the same brain freeze glitch that I did when the size 24s called in last week. Slang, let me make sure that I have this cluster flop as straight as I can get it. You're telling, by the way, how old is this woman now?
32.
Okay. You're 42. She's 32. And I'm sure I've spoken to you before, by the way. And
no, this is my first time calling her.
Okay. It was probably some other bum. She's 10 years younger than you. She already had 3 kids by how many different dudes?
2.
3 kids by 2 different dudes. So in other words, she was one of the Fort Worth tramps. And
Flint, Michigan.
Okay, she was in one of the
we came here together.
One of the Flint, and you brought her down with you.
Well, I came, and then, you know, I got the place because she sent me the money. I came down here, I got a job. She sent me the money from my taxi time. I got the place,
okay,
and she came down here.
So you had the ability to just leave her in Michigan, and yet you went through the extra effort to drag her down to Texas.
She had my child.
Okay.
I wasn't going to leave her because at that time she had the other kids. Right now the 2 oldest, they with their father in Arizona. But she got a youngest that she was like had before she was with me and my child. And so those two little girls are here with us. The other two are gone. And so it's me, her, and the two little girls.
So she had 4 kids.
Yes. Total of 4.
She had 4 kids when you met her.
No, 3.
Okay, she only had
4.
Okay, you're responsible for number 4. So 2 of the kids are with their dad in Arizona. There's 1 with her. Probably father is AWOL. And then there's you. And he brought her and this situation all the way down to Texas with him from Michigan.
And shit, Flint was crazy. We couldn't even take a bath in the water no more. The kids couldn't drink the shit no more. You know, it's like my cousin was down here. He like come down here like they hire, and you ain't got no felonies. Like you would do good down here and shit. And I came down here. It is a whole lot better.
Okay.
But,
Let me ask.
like,
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. How much does she weigh?
180. Like about 180. She's like 5'5".
5'5", 180. She probably tipping the scales around 200.
I don't know.
Okay, thank you. All right, yeah, that's what I thought. All right. So here's the real issue, Slang. The real issue is a man, any man listening to me right now, has to ask himself this one basic question, a question that has been completely devoid in your mind your entire adult life. He's only going to ask himself one question. Is this, on the screen, is this the best I want for my life? Because you had a choice to make, Slang, when you were in Michigan and you knew she was run over. She wasn't run through, she was run over. You knew that. And rather than you say, damn, I got to step my game up because a female needs to qualify to be with me, you just said, well, hell, I ain't doing nothing. Let me be next in line. And it is this bummy, grimy, gutter mentality that needs to die. And I don't want the young men out here to adopt grimy, bummy, gutter mentality. I don't want that. I want them to aspire to great things. And that means that you need to be a man of such quality and value that females have to qualify to be with you. There is no qualifying to be with you.
I mean, I'm a good father here.
Okay, we got your word for that, but the bottom line... Okay, a good father doesn't make bastard kids.
I don't make bastard kids. Like,
so you were married. Okay, so you're married to her.
Together, though.
Okay, bastard is a word that has a definition. You're going to sit here and tell us that it doesn't have a definition? Excuse me, sir. Good fathers don't make...
Yeah, it means you got to be married.
Good fathers don't make bastard kids because a family does not begin with a woman and a child. It begins with a man and a woman, and you never formed a family unit and commitment to her. Never. And the reason you didn't do that was because you didn't really fool with her for real. And that's the reason that a man gets a woman pregnant but doesn't marry her, because that's his way of saying, I don't really fool with you like that.
Shit, it seemed like, she ain't on the shit that I'm talking about,
Okay,
like,
and now you got a kid.
To the table?
And now you got a kid with her.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So, thank you for your contribution to screwing up the next generation. Now you got a kid with her, and you're an underachiever, and she's a middle of the road roadkill hood rat, and y'all are out here spawning babies like roaches, and your child will be on the phone with me.
One kid.
That's one too many.
One kid in this planet.
That's one too many. In all candor, that's one. She's got 4 too many, and you got 1 too many. Because
but
neither.
It ain't too late for me. I still got things to do. I got bigger and blacker things to do in my life.
Okay. I look forward to seeing your future ambitions.
You know what? I like to give you a call when my life do step up.
Okay.
It seems like you don't believe it or something. Like I'm just
Assuming-
gonna be right here forever.
assuming
There's still stuff to do. Like my job offered trucking. I can do the CDL
Okay.
stuff through my job.
Assuming that I am not in a rest home somewhere by the time that occurs, you are more than welcome to call me back and do so.
Yeah, I will. Thanks, Jace.
All
Be
right.
one.
Be one indeed. Assuming, of course, that I'm not cooling my heels at a nursing home somewhere by the time he gets his life straightened out. Assuming, of course, that's not the case. Assuming, of course, I'm not making like Zero from the Metal Gear Solid video game series. Assuming that's not me. Yes, you can call me back. Call from area code 203. I gotta brace myself. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, Jason. My name is Andre. I'm calling from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Andre from Raleigh, and what's on your mind?
So I have a question for you. If a person improves, I consider myself the average man. You know, tonight's episode is dedicated to me, but I have improved, guess you could say, my income. That's above average now, but nothing else around me has improved. I'm always working on improving my mindset and certain things. I just moved to Raleigh. I'm not originally from here, but I'm not getting personally the outcomes, at least not yet, that I'm looking for.
Perhaps you should contact a perfume salesman who has some nifty high heel shoes. Perhaps he can help you with that. Okay, never mind. You're on the phone with me. So, let me find out here. How old are you?
35.
Okay. Do you have any kids?
No, sir.
Okay. How much you making a year now?
104,000.
Not bad. 35, no kids, 100 G's. What's the problem?
So I called you before. If you don't mind, I'll give you the backstory of what happened. So when I recently separated from the military, not recently, a little under a year now, and I was dating someone, and it was during the Danny Lay, the baby, and then it was also Stevie J and Faith Evans, and you were talking about power dynamics, right? And I was saying I just came into this job and this position, and I was dating a nurse, and she was already making like, $90K, over $100K with overtime. And the dynamic was that prior to me getting this money in the military, we don't get paid much at all. So, she had that dynamic. She was,
All right, Reader's Digest version. What exactly is the problem you're having?
So, so since then, now I'm recently single because you said I don't think it's going to work, is what you said. Give it some time and see if you can get another woman of equal or better quality. So you were right, it didn't work. But now I don't seem to see if I can attract the same woman of equal or better quality.
Okay. Well, that in the Raleigh area, especially there, that tends to be, we already know where the issue's coming from there, so you already know that part. Here's the problem that I have. I don't even know if that should be an issue for you right now. I really don't think it should be. Let me find out here. How much money do you have in the bank in savings?
And the savings, only about 10,000.
Okay, brother, you do realize how far behind you are right now.
Extremely far.
Okay, you worrying about women. This is what I'm talking about. Negroes are just so ready. They're just so sex desperate and so ready. They just, as soon as they get two pennies to rub together, okay, where the women at? Man, you're not winning nothing right now. You got a long way to go before you can focus on that. You got a long way to go. So right now, you need to finish getting your act together first. Finish getting your purpose solidified. The females come later. Right now, if you want to kick it with a cool little female, that's one thing. As far as finding your life partner right now, you ain't in no position to do that. You're in no position to do that. Because understand something. Women need to understand the moment that you have sex with a guy, when you do that, he is done producing. Right then. Ladies, understand something, because a lot of y'all are dumbasses here who find this stuff out way later. When you have sex with a guy, whatever he is doing at that time, socioeconomically, socially, academically, intellectually, physically, wherever he is in life, he's going to be like, okay, this is the price. This is all I got to do. Females figure this out way later when dudes let them know that. But whatever a guy is doing at that time, he's going to be like, this is all I got to do. I don't have to do more. So wherever you're at right now, any female who does get with you, you're going to say, well, this is all I got to do. Because you're going to be like, well, hell, I got the house, I got the car, and I got sexual access to somebody. I'm straight. What do you mean compete? Compete for what? Now, unless you are just some ultra-driven individual like myself, who's just competing is just what you do, that's one thing. But for most of you, you won't do that. I'm under no illusions that most of you are completely uncompetitive. You're going to do just enough to get by. And if she sleeps with you now, you're done competing. You're not going to do anything else. You've already given me all the telltale signs. You're not going to do anything else. Former military too, you're not going to do anything else. As soon as, especially if she's a chick who looks halfway decent. She looks halfway decent, you're going to be like, yeah, I'm straight. As long as she's good enough when you're walking through the mall and you feel like you ain't walking, with a muskrat, you're like, I'm straight. Why do I gotta hurt myself? I'm good like I am. I'm doing better than most of these guys walking around here. I'm good. And that's what you're going to do. So, bro, you're 35 years old. I need you young men to get acquainted with a term. Peak. Peak. The real problem with the world listening to phonies and frauds is that you have lost sight of peaking. You've lost sight of exactly what that is. You all don't even discuss what that is. Let's be very, very clear. As a man, you're supposed to be figuring out where your peak is, where the top of your abilities are. That is what a man's purpose in life is to find out what's the greatest I can do. What's the best I can do? Even if it kills me. Now, that's what you're supposed to be doing as a man. And if you fail to discover what that is, understand something. The biggest adventure in your life is inside yourself. It's not really going around the world. Going around the world is a side effect of that. But if you don't investigate yourself to figure out what kind of man am I really? What am I really capable of? How much can I really do? How high can I really go? How far can I really go? If you're not on a mission to find that out, then you're not a man. You're not a man. And right now, brother, you're failing the manhood test because you're not focused on that. You need to focus on figuring out and finding out how far this thing really goes. How far you can really get.
Yeah, I agree. I concur with that. I wouldn't say like I'm 100% focused on women, but I would say that any focus I'm putting towards something that's not the main objective of what I'm trying to accomplish.
I mean, because here's the problem.
Especially at 35.
Here is the problem. At 35, you're not supposed to be trying to get seriously involved like that. No way. As a black man in America, bro, you're supposed to be getting your chips stacked up so you can make major moves by the time you hit your 40s, because that's when you hit your stride. That's when you really take off, because that's when you're supposed to have complete control. You're supposed to know the game. You're supposed to know the ropes. You spend your 20s figuring out how to stop being a kid. You spend your 30s figuring out what the ropes are. And when you're in your 40s, man, you're supposed to be doing acrobat tricks out here. You're supposed to have complete mastery of this. And right now, you're doing good, but bro, you're not mastering this. Right now, you're supposed to have at least 1 year's income in savings. Now, Susie, woman and friends, they tell you that you don't have 6 months income. In your case, that'd be $50,000, well, $52,000. But really, you need to have a year's worth. You're supposed to have an 800 plus credit score, and you're supposed to have a purpose of where you're going with it. And that's what's missing. You're worrying about the females. Well, how do I get that taken care of? It's like, bro, okay, that's supposed to be a gift. First of all, at 35, that's supposed to be a given. You're supposed to have a cool little chick you kick it with, and that's it. Not getting married, not having no children. You have a cool little chick you kick it with. After you get this other stuff solidified, if you then wish to go on that next step, you can. But you're in no position to do that, man. All you are is a guy who's got a good job. And how long have you been working there?
Going on about 6 months now, so not too long.
You're a new hire at a good job and already talking about, okay, everything's straight now. Where the women's? Sound familiar?
Oh, no, it's not that.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I was trying to tie it back to the power dynamic.
No, it's not. Yes, it is. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Yes, it is. That is exactly what it is.
I'll explain. So you often say that, hey, if you change, you can't change everyone around you. You change yourself, and the environment will then acquiesce. So that's what I've been working on. I do work on not
too many of these dudes out here. Y'all got to understand, when they've been raised by single moms, they just start arguing. Bruh, that is the situation. You got you a cool little job, and you're taking a look at the other black males around you, and you're like, well, damn, compared to them, I'm killing the game. And technically, you may be, but you're not. This isn't solid. You're just a guy in a very precarious situation right now. That's all. You're just a guy in a very precarious situation.
That's not true, Jason. Again, I don't even, where I live, there isn't even black men around me. So again, I'm not comparing myself to the black men around me. What I'm saying is that the results that I desire, that I'm setting for myself, I'm not getting that.
Remember when I said these fellas, when they get raised by single moms, what they start doing is arguing with people who know more than them.
That's incorrect. I was raised by my mother and my father.
I can tell from your behavior, it's very clear who was the dominant.
My father was.
Like I say, I don't argue like that with males who their behavior is showing us who is responsible for their upbringing. Everybody can hear you. All I'm going to tell you is, by the way, I don't have to prove anything. All people have to do is just press playback. That's all they have to do. You called me. You know why? Because I'm not.
Agreed. And I value your advice.
You called me because, unlike you, I'm not trying to figure it out. I've already got it figured out. That's why you called me more than once.
Agreed.
And you're on my phone now trying to regale the world about what you know because you're being defensive because you're not understanding. You're not just being defensive. You're being ultra defensive and catty. This is beyond, the way in which you're comporting yourself is beyond just defensive. We're now off into catty. And the problem is I don't do catty with grown men. The issue that you have is your focus was what you said when you got on the phone. You were talking about females. That was what you said when you got on the phone. That was your motivation. That was what you were talking about before. In this point here now, that shouldn't even be a consideration. The pushback is because Jason's like, your situation doesn't even afford you to be able to even look in that direction. What you should be focused on is, how do I have a year's income in here? And what do I do to set up for the necessary $3 million that I will need by the time I retire, if I can ever retire? That's where your focus is supposed to be at this point at 35. And if there's a female involved for companionship, well, that's nice and that's cute and everything. It's not a necessity. I know Laszlo's hierarchy of needs, I got it, but but it's not really a necessity. So in your case here,
I agree.
That's where you need to start. Thank you very much for giving us a call here. I know YouTube has been messing with the signal here tonight because they are major hating. And I don't blame them. I would be hating too, because every time I sit up here and remind people that, by the way, who they boost in the algorithm is sitting up here causing a bunch of mass confusion and problems. You notice every time I do that, they start messing with the signal. You notice that? So every time I do that, they're just like, oh, hell, we hating on it. By the way, I wanted you all to know something else here. YouTube censors me on my community tab. YouTube censors me. I have a situation where I've had some stuff that's really innocuous. I'm not naming anybody by name or anything like that. But most of the time, if I start putting up posts, YouTube will censor it. It won't let, I put up posts on the community tab on my YouTube page and they won't let it go up. It'll be posted and the next thing you know, it's gone. You saw it happen with the Moist and Fit thing. And they do that a lot. So just understand, I'm targeted by the machine. I'm targeted by the system. They don't like it. My job is to make sure they keep hating. Let me get caller from area code 817. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you're calling from? Okay, caller from 817 has been abducted. Caller from area code 337. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you're calling from?
Hello? Hey, I'm on live. This is G from HR.
Caller from area code 813. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Joshua from Tampa, Florida.
Joshua from Tampa. And what's on your mind?
Well, I'm trying to understand, like, where I should be going from what I'm doing right now. Because right now I'm just got my Class B. I'm working for a company where we are spray sealants on the road, and I've been traveling from Florida all the way up to North Carolina, working, making about
Let's find a couple
21 hours.
Let's find out a couple of things here, Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do?
Well, I mean, I would say make more money. So
make more. Okay, make more money. Why?
So that I can support my family, buy a nice house, and actually save up money and live comfortably.
Okay, and are you driven to do so?
Maybe not as much as I should.
There's a problem right there. So are you saying that you have a family already?
Yes, sir.
So you are married?
No.
Okay, then you don't have a family, sir. A family starts with a man and a woman, not a woman and a bunch of kids. I explained that to slang. Apparently you missed that part. So you don't have a family. You're a guy with some kids, and she's a chick with some kids. You don't have a family. So let's get that out of the way.
Okay,
let's get that out of the way first. How many kids do you have?
One.
Okay, that's enough. And you say that you want to buy a house. Who do you want to buy a house for?
Me and this lady.
Me and this lady. By the way, I want y'all to understand, when you're not married to a chick, it's old girl over here. It's not my wife. It's not my woman. It's this chick over here. So just understand, ladies, when a guy gets you pregnant and does not marry you, don't listen to any of the foolishness that might be going on behind your silly little ears. What he is telling you is, heifer, I don't fool with you like that. In his heart of hearts, that's the way he feels about you. Is I don't fool with you like that. I don't. And that's what he really means. He doesn't really fool with her like that. Because if he fooled with her all the way, he would have locked her down and put legal requirements on her, which is what marriage is. What he did was he had somebody she's a cool little chick to lay up with, but he didn't really want her. he wasn't really willing to make a commitment to her. But if you lay up with a chick long enough, one of them nights you're going to mess around and be like, you know what? I can have babies with this chick. You're going to go do that. Yeah, but your reptilian brain in the back is telling you, we don't want to get legally obligated to her. Well, guess what? Now you kind of are. So now he's trying to make it fit. So he's talking about buying a house.
Yeah, I messed up and got her pregnant.
By the way, do y'all notice that every time one of these little sassy strawberry draws wearing mama's boys, every time they get called on their stuff, you notice they start talking. Now, what he's gonna say with his Capri Sun draws on, it's not gonna change anything that I said. And it doesn't disprove anything any more than the last clown did. But they're talking now because they're not used to manhood. So manhood is when you own your crap. They're not used to this. Manhood is a foreign concept to them. So what they do is they start responding like their mamas, and they start getting sassy and start talking. So it would be different if there was something that was incorrect that was said. But first of all, you don't interrupt the host while he's talking. But second of all, it'd be different if there was something incorrect that was said. There's nothing incorrect that I've said. Not a single thing I've said has been incorrect. Not at all. Now, you might not want her to know it, but the truth is, you and I both know, you don't really fool with her for real like that. She's all right people, but you've made sure you've kept up a barrier, which is why you haven't given her unlimited access, because you don't really fool with her for real like that. You don't. She was just the best you could do at that time. And you messed around and got her pregnant because that's what dudes who have no purpose and direction do, because they start reacting like females. Well, I got nothing to lose. Then he starts deciding in his 30s or 40s he wants to get his life together. Oh, damn, I got something to lose now. Maybe I should make the best of this. And by the way, how many children does she have?
Only one with me.
Has she ever been pregnant before?
Nope.
I would want to see the DNA on that, but all right. How old is she?
31.
And how old are you?
30.
And the child?
Next month turning 2.
So and how long have you two been together?
Since November 2018.
So, little over 3 years.
Yes.
So basically you just got her pregnant damn near off the rip. Yeah.
Child was born in
according to you, it's only been 3 years. The child is 2 years old. Did you think the child was conceived 2 days before they were born? This nigga don't listen neither. Basically, you're saying there was from the time of conception to now, you're basically 3 years. So you essentially got her pregnant right after meeting her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, folks, these little mama's boys, they start talking and squawking because reality whooping their ass doesn't feel very comfortable. But there's nothing I've said that is inaccurate, because it is not inaccurate. They have to take off them feminine draws, because when you get called on some manhood stuff, it's like, well, they don't feel very comfortable. It's not supposed to feel comfortable. It's reality. You were the one who she was the best you could do. You got sprung. By the way, is she black?
Sprung is correct. Yeah.
How tall is she?
She is like 5'8".
And how much does she weigh? And nigga, don't lie.
I'm not totally sure how much you weigh.
Give it a guess.
All right, I'll guess. Let's see. She should be, I would say 160.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. What size does she wear?
I don't know, sir. I really don't.
Are you in the house right now?
No. I'm like north of Miami.
I'm hiding out from it. I do not believe that at all. I do not believe that, period. I don't believe that one damn bit. So you're making that
My
part.
job, they have me traveling.
I'm not saying you're not traveling. I can't speak on that part. I do know that you know full damn well, yeah, this chick was not a high climber. Not at all. Not at all. She didn't have a bunch of options. That's why she got you. A fella who wasn't offering her nothing. She's down there in the Florida, Miami area, and she comes away with you? Nah.
No, she's from Chicago, and we both live in Brandon, Florida.
Oh, well, if she's from Chicago, well, that could happen. Okay. Well, she's from Chicago. Okay. That could happen then. That could happen. It sure could. Well, let me tell you, it was really stupid for you to get her pregnant like that. That really, really was. Now you're stuck with her. Somebody you really don't fool with for real like that. And now you're contemplating taking on a mortgage. Now, isn't it amazing? This guy is willing to make a 30-year commitment to the bank, but he's not willing to make a 1-year commitment to this woman. So for all of your perfume dons out there who keep talking about, yeah, I know I messed up things again, didn't I? For all your perfume dons out there who keep telling you about, oh, well, you know, these women want to get pregnant and not married. These dudes will get them pregnant. These dudes will talk about getting a mortgage, but they don't want to marry these women. He's willing to take out a mortgage and put his whole financial well-being at risk for somebody he's not even married to. Now, why would we do something like that?
Because we are going to get married.
Okay, we are going to get married. And when are we, quote, going to get married?
I'm not totally sure, but I'm going to wear her. Put a ring in her thing.
There you go. There you go. There it is.
But I am going to go through with it.
This is the game they run on little dumb hoes. They run this little game on little dumb broads. Little dumb hoes sit around and fall for that and whatnot. Well, baby, you know I'm going to do it. I'm going to do right, baby. I'm going to do right. I'm going to do this. Nigga, please. If you really wanted to marry her, you'd have done that 2 years ago. You would have done that when you first heard she was pregnant. You would have demanded that your child not be a bastard.
That's why I got a ring.
Okay, you would have married. Let me try this again, slowpoke. Okay. You would have married her when you first heard she was pregnant. That was the deadline right there. When you first heard that she was bearing your child, tradition would tell you, okay, I can't bring my child in this world as a bastard. Can't let that happen. So, no, you're not serious then. You're not serious now. If you were ever going to pull that trigger when she got pregnant was the time to pull that trigger, you would have done that. You had no problem getting her pregnant. No, you don't fool with her for real like that. This is a game that you're playing with her and yourself, but you're not serious about it. If you really wanted that, you would. If you were ever going to do it, you would have done it then. If her getting pregnant didn't get you over that finish line, nothing will. And her little dumbass thought it would, and it didn't. In the chat room, they said an engagement ring would buy you another year. This nigga was like, okay, let me see if I can figure it out. No, he's just stalling around. If he wanted to marry her, he could have her married in a weekend. He's not doing it. He don't go 2 years after the child is born and y'all still aren't married. And you ask him today, well, when y'all gonna get married? I don't know. I'm thinking over. You've been thinking it over since you met her. You have no intention of doing any of that. Furthermore, at this point, why would you? Tell me one benefit that you're going to get marrying her that you're not already getting. Ladies, remember what I told you before. Whatever you're doing for a fellow when you first have sex with him, that's the ceiling, unless it's in his character to not stop there. She was already, as soon as she started laying up with you, that's all you were going to do. That was the max right there. And that's what you've been doing. You haven't given her anything beyond that. Not a thing. She's got the kid, and that's it. He's talking about buying a house, but that's for him. That's not for her.
No, I would leave it to her.
Okay, why would you go off and go make a 30-year commitment to a bank for somebody you're not married to? Why?
I am gonna marry her because
I'm gonna.
We're a couple. We work together.
Yeah, I'm gonna, everybody. 3 years later, and it's I'm gonna. See, this is the problem right here. They run game on hoes so long, then they get in the company of a grown-ass man. They start trying to run game on us like they're doing the little dumb broads. This is why young females, sir, be quiet. I'm not going to tell you again. To the females listening right now, this is why you little dumb broads out here need to have a man in your lives. You need to have a man who is around. So when y'all bring home some damn idiot who sits up here talking silly and you're off in your feelings for whatever crazy dumbass reason you are, you can run game like this on little dumb immature girls. You can't run that on a grown ass man who's her father. He's going to recognize, oh, this nigga ain't ready. 2 seconds of talking to you and he'll realize, this guy ain't ready for nothing. But daddy, I'm in love. If you don't shut your little dumb in love ass up, this nigga is not ready. He'll get you pregnant and then you'll just be sitting there with a kid and it'll be 5 years later and you're going to come at me with your lip poked out. Daddy, he didn't. I thought he loved me. Well, love don't love nobody. Love is an opinion. What is he going to do for you? Well, he said he was going to buy a house and he actually could go and buy it. Okay, but he has not made a legal binding commitment to you. One that he cannot get up and just walk away from. Because he can get up and walk away from a house. He can get up and walk away from a kid. He hasn't. Show me how much investment he has put into you and you by yourself. And he wasn't even willing to do that. He was willing to stick you with a kid. He ain't did nothing else. So, brother, this is why you have just illustrated why it is that females need to have a father who is a complete built man to be able to vet this. This is what we've done throughout time, and this is what's screwed up and missing today. We don't have men in the home to sit here, so when a fella like you comes walking up, dad can slam the door in your face like the Denzel Washington gif. That's what needs to happen. And unfortunately, in her case, there was no one there to do that, so here you are with the kid and everything. So at this point here right now, yeah, you can go off and go buy a house. You could do that. How big of a house do you want it? Well, exactly. What specifically, how big is this house supposed to be?
Let's see, 1 master bedroom, probably 2 guest bedroom with another guest bathroom.
I said how big I said how big is it supposed to be?
No, I don't have that down yet, sir.
How many square feet?
Well, maybe 4,000.
4,000 square feet. Did I hear that correctly? Hello?
Yes, that's what I said, sir. Yeah.
Okay. You want a 4,000 square foot home in the Miami area?
Oh, probably not. No.
Okay.
Maybe somewhere around Brandon, Florida, around Tampa, Florida, or.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, how about just okay? You said Tampa, then, sir. All right. Fine. Tampa. So you want a 4,000 square foot home in the Tampa area?
If I can find one there, sir. Or I will have to maybe go further out to like Riverview, Florida.
Okay. Sir, do you know how much a 4,000 square foot home in the Tampa area runs?
No, sir. Currently, I do not.
Okay. Anybody can go to realtor.com right now and take a look and see what a 4,000 square foot home is running for in the Tampa area. You're starting at $500,000. And that's 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 3 baths, doesn't matter. That's $500,000 to start. And you talking about cheaper. And by the way, there's only a few listings for that. From there, it immediately jumps to over $700,000 and then to $800,000, and it just keeps going.
True.
And it's not like there's a bunch of them to buy either, so you better jump on the $800,000 before that's gone.
All right.
So, you haven't thought this over. This is why we have to have discussions with the males, not just the females. So with the females, they silly and this, that, and the other. Have y'all heard some of the nonsense and the Looney Tunes behavior coming from the males out here? He's in Florida. He's got a woman and a kid. He's talking about he's gonna marry her and he's gonna buy a house. And he doesn't even know how much that house is gonna cost. How much do you make a year, sir?
Goodness. 50,000.
What was that?
So yeah, I'm still working on that.
Whoa. Slow down. Back up. Back up,
Slappy.
Slappy.
Class A.
Okay, back up, Slappy. How much do you make a year?
50,000 a year.
Let me get my abacus and go over these numbers. By the way, everybody, one brief break here. I got the Pepto-Bismol. All right. I couldn't even get a spoonful of that. I had to drink that. I just had to take a swig straight from the bottle. They got me drinking Pepto like it's OE. Folks, he makes $50,000 a year. He's going to marry this woman with a kid, and he is going to take on a 30-year commitment to a $500,000 house. Yeah, there were some jackasses in the chat room who were like, wait a minute, Jaden, you don't know. No, you're a dumbass and you don't know. I do know. Yeah, this is what happens when you are devoid of talking to adults. You get in chat rooms and you say silly, stupid stuff. In the adult world, this doesn't make it any amount of time. He's not even talking seriously. He thinks he is. What Dre saying, get it. Niggas lie to themselves, but they think they lying to me. Okay, here's the problem. The problem is the past is the best indicator of the future. The problem is I know what you're thinking. What you're thinking is you're going to put your income together with hers. That's what you're thinking is going to happen. Now that's what you think you're going to do. Yeah.
She don't work.
She's not working?
She don't work.
At all?
She's not working right now. At all.
I don't believe that. How long has she not been working?
She does stuff online, like little stuff
there
online.
You go. Yeah, because there's no way in the hell you would be doing what you're doing with a woman who ain't working. So no. All you niggas could get a chick who's got some money coming in. So no, she's working. Yeah.
She works from home. So in a sense like that, to take care of the kid.
And this is why I told y'all, for the dumbasses who were like, well, Jason, you don't know she just 160 pounds. No, she's sitting at home and getting bigger by the day. So yeah. She's sitting at home, she's putting on weight, and this guy's out here working. Yeah, she is. Just stop, man.
She don't have a bad diet, sir. She don't have one of them bad diets.
This is another one of these strawberry shortcake draws wearing dudes arguing. Bruh, just quit.
Whatever.
Just quit. Just quit.
I'm telling you the truth, Jason.
Okay.
She don't got a bad diet.
This is my program. Just stop. Just stop. Knock it off. And by the way, for as much as you're talking about spending, this chick would have to be a dime. For the amount of liability you're taking on right now, this chick would have to be a dime. Okay, she's a dime to you. All right. Okay, well, in that case, in order to make this work, what you are going to need to do is you're going to need to for what you're talking about doing, going to a major city in Florida where half the world is flocking to, you are going to need to triple your income, is what you're going to have to do. If you want to go ahead and get your Class A, get all of your endorsements, you will be spending a bunch of time away from home, by the way. You'll be spending a bunch of time away from home. You will not be able to be there because you're going to be too busy out here trying to get it.
All right.
And that's a whole lot of extending yourself for somebody you're not even married to.
I believe she's worth it. She has shown and proven herself to me.
You believe she's worth it. Everybody, he keeps saying the same babble. She's worth it. 3 years, and he hasn't married her, but she's worth it. You see, you'll know you're a grown man in this world when you can get with a female, look her in the eye, and tell her, I'm never going to get married and I'm never going to have kids. Do you still want to do this? You see what little flaky individuals do is they sit up here and fill females' heads with dreams and then tell them whatever they want to hear. And then he gets in too deep and then he starts trying to dig out. But you notice he's left that escape hatch open. Oh, I'm not going to marry her. Okay, yeah, she got me with the kid, but I'm not going to marry her. I'm not going to do that now. I might need to cut out because it's been real and it's been good, but it ain't been real good. So, but be that as it may, if you're asking what my advice is, yes, you need to upgrade to your CDLA. You need to get all your endorsements, and you're going to be spending a bunch of time away from home. I would recommend you get started sooner rather than later. You have a woman and a kid to take care of in an outrageously expensive house. And I haven't even asked about cars, college. I have vacations, if you'll ever get one of those, by the way. I haven't even asked anything about that. This is just to do what you just told me about. To get that kind of house you want in that state, you're going to need to triple your income.
Okay.
I suggest you get started.
All righty, sir. Thank you for your advice.
Nah, niggas lie to themselves. They just think they're lying to me. They just think they're selling me on the line. They get used to dealing with little dopey, daffy little broads, and they're used to lying to them and pulling the wool over their eyes, and they get on the phone and talk to me, and it's like, ooh, hell, you ain't going for it. No, I'm not. I'm really not. By the way, YouTube is a real dirty ass place for that, by the way. They hate it when we tell the truth about these things. That's why they want to try to knock our numbers down as much as we can. So make sure you share this when you get done with this, people. Let me get call of area code 816. You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Adam Murphy from Kansas City.
Okay, your phone's breaking up on you here. If you're on speaker or something, take it off now.
It's off the speaker.
Okay, what is your name? Where are you calling from?
Antoine, Kansas City.
Okay, your phone sounds real janky and I'm not making it out. So if you're on headphones or anything else, you need to take it off of those.
Damn. Okay.
Call of area code 510. You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Jason. This is Tango from Fremont, California, but I'm on the road right now driving as a trucker in Texas.
Tango from Fremont. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so I'm calling it in regards to, I took your advice last year when I used to work at Facebook, quit my job 2 weeks later, got in the truck. It's been a year now since me doing trucking. My question to you is, I'm trying to get your idea on building business credit because...
Okay, whoa. Back up.
Yeah.
Let's be very, very clear now. No, I don't wear kitten heels and perfume now. So you're speaking to the foundation. Now, what you are saying is that I gave you a specific piece of advice.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
and
I didn't call you.
You didn't call me?
No.
Okay, because I would have remembered somebody who worked at Facebook. I would have remembered something like that. So, but you're saying that you took a specific piece of advice that I gave somebody else?
Exactly.
Okay, and you applied that to yourself.
Correct.
You know what? I'll still stand by it. I will still stand by it. How'd that work out for you a year later?
Man, I'm speechless. Like this has to be the best piece of advice I've gotten in my whole entire life, because I was making $700 a week, let alone I had to put in extra overtime just to make $1,000 a week at Facebook, miserable, trying to find a way out. But now in trucking, I'm making $3,000 to $4,000 a week.
When you have a unified ideology, you don't have to run and hide. You don't have to book a session. You don't have to talk to people offline. When you have a unified ideology, you don't need a call screener. You allow anybody to call in and they can check your ideology. I'm not a person figuring this out as I go along. I already know. I'm not a guy trying to figure out what needs to be done. I already know. I'm the coach. I'm drawing up the game plan. If you run the ball the way I tell you to run the ball, I know you think that the defensive line is going to catch you. Run the ball the way I told you. They're not going to be able to catch you. Run it just like I said, and you're going to win championships. So I'm glad to hear that. How old are you?
32.
By the way, folks don't like the real. They don't like somebody who's real. You got folk out here telling you that listening to frauds and fakes on the internet entertain you is just as good as listening to somebody who can change your damn life. So what this really is an IQ test to determine who wants to have a better life of their own and who wants to sit on the internet watching videos about people pretending to have a better life. So it's really just an IQ test. All right, you're 32 years old. You're getting things together here. I'm glad to hear that. Caller on 614, just stay on the line. I'm going to be with you here shortly. 614, just stay on the line. All right, Kay. So you want to find out about getting business credit?
Yeah. So, in your video before, you always recommend building on personal credit. But when I gave a call to Bank of America about me calling up, because you gave the strategy about calling your credit cards every 3 months to make an increase on the cards. But with Bank of America, they told me if I do that, calling them every 3 weeks to make an increase, they told me that they would hit me with a
slow down. I didn't say every 3 weeks, sir. I said every 6 months. 6 months.
Oh, no.
6 months.
Sorry. Yes. 6 months. Sorry. Yes. So I gave them that answer, and they said back to me, well, if you do that, you're going to get a hard inquiry every time that you call us.
Well, first of all, you don't have to call. You can do it online if you have a credit card with Bank of America. Do you have a credit card with Bank of America?
Yes.
Okay, you do it at their website, so that doesn't require you to call in. I should know. I have credit cards with Bank of America. Okay, so thank you, sir. I'm not guessing my way through this. I'm not some kid in heels liar. Sir, I have credit cards with pretty much every bank and institution, every major bank and institution out there. I've got credit cards with all of them, so I'm not telling you what I guess. I'm not some liar who said go to the Bentley dealership and they want to see your credit report. No, they don't. I know exactly what Bank of America wants because I do business with Bank of America. And I don't just mean credit cards. I don't just mean credit cards either. I do business with Bank of America. That's all I'll say. Because there might be somebody who works at Bank of America. Ooh, let me go. No, it won't be that easy either. But I do business with Bank of America. So no, sir, if you do that, that'll be fine. But even if you did have a hard inquiry for getting a credit increase, that's only going to hit you 1 or 2 points. So it's not like it's going to drop you 50 points or something.
Okay, gotcha. Because I'm just very wary about my credit. Because I mean,
don't
I
be.
have a 730.
Don't be. Don't be. Y'all need to not be risky about that. The only time that a hard inquiry is going to hurt you is if you get ultimately turned down. Now that'll hurt you. And also, you're supposed to be giving yourself time frames. So as long as your credit overall, your credit score is over 720, 740, then these normal fluctuations will not hurt you. It's going to go down for a couple of months, and then it recovers. Every time I buy an automobile, I get a drop of like 20 points. Okay, 60 days later, it's right back where it was. That's just the natural ebb and flow of it. So, no, do not be afraid. Do not be scared. This is normal. There is nothing abnormal about that. Nothing at all. And you need to get your credit limits up. So there's nothing abnormal here.
Okay. Because I'm trying to buy myself out of the truck that I'm in because I'm in a lease program right now.
Oh, hell. Now, if you've been listening to me for any damn amount of time, you know I've warned you all about those damn lease programs. Now, so you just ignored that. The good advice I gave him, he listened to that. And the stuff I said don't do, he did that too. He's like a billy goat. He eats everything.
It's a walkout term.
Sir, there's no such thing as a good lease to own program. There isn't one. That's the reason you're trying to get out of it now, because there's no such thing as a good one.
Okay.
So you're doing the right thing by trying to get out of it, but I mean, there's no such thing as a good one. So you need to get out from up under that.
Okay, because with all the trucks right now, they're so high and inflated, and I'm so close to paying this one off because I have until July to until the term is over. So I figure let me do a buyout on this truck because I know it very well, and instead of me,
if you got lucky. If you got lucky and they didn't stick you with one of the bum vehicles that they have, which is usually what they put in their lease programs, or the sketchy vehicles. But if you're in one that's not eating a hole in your ass pocket, and you're not in the shop every other week, and you're spending 90% of your time on the road as opposed to in and out of the shop, it might be worth keeping. I don't know. But there's no such thing as a cheap vehicle right now, but that doesn't mean that we don't still go to work. And that doesn't mean we don't still buy. We try to look for a deal where we can get one. But that doesn't mean we don't buy if we need to. But if the vehicle's in good shape and you can get out from under that lease, yes, you need to do so ex post facto. I'm sorry, post haste, rather, not ex post facto, post haste.
Okay. But then what is your thoughts on someone trying to build capital?
You build capital, sir.
But I mean, I'm saying like going through business credit to build capital.
I mean, business credit is one of the most overused terms out there. It really, really is. Because you want business credit to do what exactly?
To start making investments and getting more trucks and putting drivers in.
The only reason you need business credit is if you're trying to start a business and you want the business to have credit. You've got several different ways you can do that. You can start an LLC and you can go from there. And as far as building, business credit, of course you want to know about, okay, I don't know what's going on there. Calm down.
Sorry.
You're going to need a tax ID. You need to have your Dun & Bradstreet. If you don't know what these terms mean, Google them. But you really want to have a tax ID, do your Dun & Bradstreet, and then you start looking in those areas. Then you start, taking out, your business loans for the business itself. You start small and you go from there, just like with personal credit. But technically speaking, you're going to get a lot further. You're going to have to start with your personal credit to begin with. Some folks tell you don't have to, but that's not true. But long story short, I mean, if you don't have an LLC in a business to begin with, do you have that?
I do have that.
Okay, well then all you have to do now is you're going to start small. I mean, it's not like you can start financing a truck. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to build up your credit, sir. You don't just walk in the door, hey, I got an LLC, and then buy that truck over there. That's not the way it works.
Okay, because I am talking to someone that is helping me refinance on the truck that I'm in, but he's saying I would need $19K down.
There you go.
For this investor, that's yeah.
Yeah, it's like I say, if you don't have the credit, then you have to pay cash. So yes, that's the way it works.
Because I was thinking, instead of using my cash, why not use someone else's money, i.e., business credit or my personal credit or some other venture of coming up with that capital rather than using mine, because I was thinking about using my cash for making any breakdowns or any things
yes.
like that.
How much money do you have in the bank in savings?
I mean, as of right now, 15K.
Okay, you don't have enough.
Exactly.
Okay, so you are undercapitalized. That number needs to go up to somewhere around 60,000. So
Okay.
you need more money,
So
sir.
what
You're
you're
trying to cheapskate your way through this, and that's going to be disaster. It's too easy to make you cash poor. So
Okay,
you
so
got
what you're
more
saying is
work.
that would-
You have more work to do, is what I'm saying. It's not glamorous. It's not beautiful.
Okay.
You got more work to do. You're undercapitalized. You're one small issue could bankrupt you. You're undercapitalized. Get that fixed.
Exactly.
Don't do anything before you get that fixed. Call me back when you got 60,000.
Okay.
Call me back when you got 60,000 in the bank. Until then, we have nothing to discuss.
Sounds good, Jason. Be one.
All right, first, brother. Yeah, just undercapitalized. They're trying to get their acts together here. Let me get caller from area code 614. You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Jason. My name is Gloria. I'm calling from Columbus, Ohio.
Hello, Gloria from Columbus. Oh boy, where the other caller was calling from, and what's on your mind?
Yes, actually, that is the reason I called. Just listening to him, it was very cringy. I work for a financial institution, and what I'm hearing is a lot of gentlemen, and not just the gentlemen, both men and women, are significantly undereducated when it comes to finances. And a lot of people are signing their names on the dotted line without getting educated first, which is a huge red flag. So that's really all I want to say is just educate yourself before you put your life on the line.
Well, first of all, you have to have a plan. And the problem is we're talking to males who don't really have a plan. They don't have a plan. For example, when I asked the guy, how big is the house? He doesn't know. He wants to buy a house, and he literally has not even decided, well, how big of a house do I want? It's like buying a vehicle. I mean, it's one thing to just be a teenager and I need something to get back and forth in. Okay, but when you become an adult, you have responsibilities. You need a vehicle that can help facilitate you taking care of your responsibilities. So that 1982 Ford Escort or Ford Fiesta you used to have, that's not going to cut it anymore. You need something that can carry children comfortably and groceries and other things. And if you do work or whatever, you need something that can take care of that. So you're going to have to start, adjusting your expectations to fit the life you're supposed to be living. So when you ask somebody what kind of house they want and they can't tell you how big it is, he just starts naming off rooms. Well, that's something that, no offense, that's what females do. But a man is supposed to know how many square feet he's dealing with, because the square footage, I understand. I don't want to get into a debate with people out there who are going to try to argue about bedrooms versus bathrooms adding to the cost. Square footage is one of the single biggest determinants of how much a house is going to cost. How big of a structure how big is the footprint of this structure we're going to be building? And if you can't even answer that, if you haven't already made up your mind whether we're talking a house that is going to be 1,500 square feet, 2,500 square feet, or 4,000 square feet, because there's a big difference between 1,500 and 4,000. In price, that's a chasm. And if you are unaware of that one fact, you're not ready to buy a home. So I know you haven't thought it through seriously, because you haven't done the due diligence, which means you don't fool with this chick for real. Because if you did, you would make sure you've done your due diligence first. You're responding to what she wants. What usually happens, females get pregnant and then the dude's trying to figure out, okay, well, let me facilitate that after the fact, because she's putting pressure on him. Well, what are we going to do next? We got a kid now. I need to have a house. I need to have this type of kitchen. I need to have this type of bathroom. I want to be in this neighborhood. And they're trying to make it up on the fly as they go along, which I think is what you were saying. That's really the most haphazard way of doing anything. You need to have a plan. When you have a plan, then you start doing due diligence. Okay, here's the plan. How do I execute it? That's where due diligence comes in. But we got folks just skipping steps along the way because they didn't think this over. They're not thinking through the pregnancies. They just getting folk pregnant willy-nilly. They're just doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And in the end, that sabotages you. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 832. You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Caller from 832 has been abducted. Caller from area code 337, you're on live with the business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Jason Lake Charles, by the way, Alexander, big brother.
Okay, sir, you sound drunk as hell. Can you try that again?
No, this is G from Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Okay, G from Lake Charles, and what is on your mind?
Yeah. No, I get my niece and my kids, and I'm the same one that got the dump truck business that I called you one time, that I changed my little nephews and them around, and my sister, daughter, my niece, they all look at me like a father figure because they ain't never had no father. So she got accepted to Yale and for a full scholarship, and she can go to her. So she looking at me for advice on things that what she should take in because she want to go for the most money. But I listen to you and I admire your opinion so much, big brother.
Okay,
so
well, brother, you didn't sound quite so tipsy the last time I talked to you, bro. You sounded way more upbeat.
Yeah, I've been drinking a little bit.
Okay, you've been drinking a lot, bit. At the same time, no, you've been drinking a lot of bit. At least you're at home, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, he ain't drinking and driving. No, brother, you ain't been drinking a little bit. You think you've been drinking a little bit. Oh, you've been drinking a lot more than you've been drinking a lot.
Hey, it was one of them days, baby. I've been rolling all day. I rolled there ever since because I roll my dump trucks at 6 o'clock in the morning. Man, I don't come home until it's nighttime.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
You and
I remember speaking to you before, and I'm like, oh, this is a whole different nigga this time. So I'm like, oh, he did that. He got one of them. That was a laugh. When he says a little, y'all, that's a Lafayette little. Y'all don't know about South Louisiana. That's a Lafayette little. Oh, nigga, they'll kill you with that. You'll get cirrhosis of the liver with their little.
Already, but she was asking me about that, big brother. She been asking me, and they look up to me for stuff. So I don't know, really. I say, well, when you had this subject tonight, I was like, well, let me call him and see if he got like an idea that I can share with her, because I look up to a lot of the stuff that you've been saying, and I follow a lot of things that you done did. That's the only way I do.
Okay, well, to keep things concise here, how old is she?
She's 17 years old. She's the youngest one.
Okay.
Hey, yeah. She was
what is she saying she wants to do?
She says she wants to be this army psychiatrist thing and go to
no. No, absolutely not.
Okay, what can I kind of because that's the reason I called you.
Psychology, sociology, all these mental health degrees, like I say, you're not going to get very much out of that. Psychiatry is a little bit different in that it's actually part of the medical profession. Now that's the difference between psychiatry and the others is you have to actually that's actually a medical credential. So that's actually being a doctor.
Okay.
So they can actually prescribe things and stuff like that.
Okay. That's what she said that she wanted to do, but first she wanted to start off with like the military or something like that. But she's so smart, Jay. But that's all I wanted to ask you, big brother. That
seems a little bit of a convoluted way of getting there. I'm going to be a psych, and by the way, I know a few people who've done that, but by way of the military, that just seems very convoluted. She needs to pick one or the other. If she wants, what you really need to talk with her about is becoming like a nurse practitioner instead. Not that I have anything against psychiatry necessarily, except the profession is a little bit screwed. I will say that. I don't have anything against that. She could do a lot worse than psychiatry, okay? Let me update what I said before. She could do a lot worse than psychiatry. Psychiatry is not useless. At 17, the reason why I'm saying no is because I'm questioning why a 17-year-old wants to become a psychiatrist. So if they've had a lot of issues at home, which is what typically tends to happen with black females, they come from a very tumultuous home environment, very dysfunctional, so they wind up becoming adults trying to figure out how to quote unquote fix it. And so they go to psychology, sociology, psychiatry. So they couldn't save themselves. They try to save the rest of the world. And what I'm saying is motives matter when you're choosing a profession. So when I hear a 17-year-old who wants to go into psychiatry, I got real questions about that. However, my answer to you is she could do a lot worse. I don't think going in the military is the best idea or the best pathway to get that. That seems to be a complete diversion away.
She got a full scholarship to Yale, but when I was asking her, like, when she get out of there, she got 4 years that she can take there. And everything she had got a offer from Harvard and one from Yale. And so she went with Yale because Yale paid for everything. But but being that she has something that high and coming from the South, Jay, you already know.
Okay, well, we're a little short. We're a little short on time. We're a little short on time here.
Okay.
I am not against. I am not against her doing that, but she needs to go straight to it. She doesn't need to dally around. If she's gonna do it, she needs to go straight to it. She doesn't need to divert into anything else. No playing around. If you're going to do it, go straight into it. She's 17. She's old enough to start when she gets 18. She needs to just go straight into it. No playing around. No diversions. No nothing else. If you're gonna do this thing, go straight into this thing. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a caller from area code 773. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Jason. It's Rosa from Atlanta.
Hello, Rosa from Atlanta. What's on your mind?
I called you on Friday, if you remember.
You did.
If not, that's okay. So I kind of have a... First of all, I want to say I agree. I'm glad that you're doing this show talking about the men tonight and that they need to step up. But I kind of disagree with the point that you made with I think it was 2 callers ago about the young guy. He was making $104,000 and he's 35. And you advised him that he shouldn't be really looking to get married or be looking for a relationship. I guess because he's a man, and I guess things are different for him. I can agree with that, but I feel like at 35 and he's making $104,000. I mean, there are doctors who are making $104,000, and you know they're older than he is, and they're settled and they have a family and everything, and they're married. So I'm kind of curious why you advised him not that's something that he should not be looking for. I mean, that's great money, $104,000.
Rosa, no offense, but what you just said, that's the reason why females shouldn't be allowed to weigh in on these things, particularly young females. What you just did right there, that's the reason why they should not weigh in. No offense, not taking a shot at you. This is a teaching moment. Now, why don't you remind everybody, because I already know, remind everybody how old you are.
I'm 27.
All right. Now, in your mind, $100,000 is quote unquote good money. That's the reason. Now, that was the reason why I brought up an entire chart to show people that, by the way, before you all start thinking to yourselves that you know what quote unquote good money is, maybe you should find out exactly what the median income is in every state so you can have a real idea of what quote unquote good money actually is. And then you find out real quick it ain't that.
I understand that. And maybe I'm looking at it from an outdated point of view.
Brake pedal. Teaching moment. You have a guy who, now the fellow that you're talking about, I think he said he was in Raleigh. And you got a guy here who, and like I said, we went over those numbers there before, but the median income in North Carolina is $57,000. To be in the top 10%, you got to be making $204,000. Now, I want you to think about this for a few moments here, okay? He's a young black male. He's in his mid-30s. This is the time where he's supposed to be hitting his stride. As a female, you don't think about these things. And you don't think about them because you're not looking to take care of yourself. You're looking for a man to take care of you. So the logistical nuts and bolts that are required, you're not actually even thinking about those, which is why I said tonight, the most important thing these guys need to be talking about and thinking about here, the most important thing I want for them to start considering here is whether or not you have peaked. That's the real question. Have you peaked? Have you hit your peak? How far can this really go?
60 seconds.
Because what you did was the first thing you did was you went to a usual trope. You started comparing it to doctors or lawyers. And by the way, if a doctor's making $100,000 a year, he's not a very good doctor. But by the way, you are quite correct. There are quite a number of doctors and lawyers who only make $100,000 a year. And by the way, if you're only making $100,000 a year as a doctor or lawyer, you either work in a very small town or you're not a very good doctor, one or the other. One or the other. In Atlanta, what you gonna do with $100,000 a year? How far are you gonna go? Slow, Rosa? Okay, Rosa.
Okay, okay.
Break.
Are you asking me?
No, I'm not asking you anything yet.
Okay.
I want you all to think this over for a few moments. To the adults who understand this, how far are you gonna go on $100,000 a year in Atlanta? What type of life maximum? Because if you're making money, it's about the lifestyle you're going to live. What type of life are you going to live in Atlanta on $100,000 a year? In Raleigh, Charlotte, for those of you who don't know, those places are all blowing up just like Atlanta now. So if you never took a trip there, one trip down Interstate 40 is going to educate you real fast to what's happening in the Carolinas. $100,000 a year. Think about that for a few moments. Then when you go looking at home prices, if you want to buy a house, which I don't really even endorse in this market right now. Now, if you're trying to look forward, I want to take care of a female. What is a female for? Well, let me tell you something. Females cost money. So you were treating it as, well, hell, 100,000 is good. Okay, but is 100,000 his destination? Because if we haven't reached our destination yet, then you have to make your decisions about, okay, if we haven't reached the destination, why the hell are we stopping and doing a victory lap? Do we have time to stop and celebrate and have wine, woman, and song if we haven't reached our destination? See, that's how you end up like old boy Slang, who was on here before. So as a female, you're not thinking about that. You're just looking at, well, hell, there was a doctor who was trying to holler at my 27-year-old's ass. There was a lawyer, and he was making $100,000. This guy doing good compared to them. And that was why I made the point then. Well, compared to, I said the same thing that I'm saying to you now. Yeah, compared to other black males in your area, that is, quote, good. Have you looked at the white guys, the Asians, the Arabs, and then considered that? How competitive is $100,000 a year against the rest of the world? Well, against other black males, $100,000 a year is great. Against the rest of the world, not so much. And looking forward into the future, when I ask the question about what are you going to do with $100,000, let's take for example here, I'm going to ask you, would you like to have a house one day?
Yes.
All right. How big would you like that house to be?
I haven't given that much thought.
There you
big
go.
House or a small house, I haven't really given that much thought.
There you go. All right. But understand, while you're telling us that $100,000 a year is good for what? Because it's not going to be able to buy a house under those circumstances. So $100,000 is great compared to a high school student or a college student or a person making minimum wage. Well, yeah, $100,000 is great compared to a person who is struggling. But $100,000 is not balling. $100,000 in most markets is not going to give upward mobility to that extent. Because remember, that's $100,000 before taxes. Taxes are going to take at least 25% to a third. At least. So now you're actually getting $70,000 after taxes. If you're a single person, if you're a single person with no children, you're really only going to be left with $75,000 or $70,000 after taxes. Now, if you have an apartment and a car, This is starting to get eaten up real quickly. Now you throw a female. Now you throw a female on top of that. No. This is going to become a boondoggle very quickly.
Okay, can I add in something? I think for one, you're making a lot of assumptions about the kind of lifestyle that somebody would want with that kind of money. So if you're making $104,000 a year, that is $8,600 a month, and after taxes, if it's $75,000, that's $6,000. That's a little bit over $6,000 a month. Now, again, maybe I'm just looking at it from my point of reference, but
yes,
if you're making $6,000 a month, the average mortgage payment, to my understanding now, is probably, and it's going to depend on, many factors, but for most people, the average person, it's around, I want to say, $1,200 to maybe $1,700 a month. So that's not even a third. That's not even a fourth of $6,000. You still
Rosa.
Yes.
How much do you know about buying a home?
I don't know very much, actually.
Okay. So I'm not making assumptions. You're the one making assumptions. See, you're the one who doesn't.
I'm just very good with my.
You're okay. I'm not making.
Very good with my own.
Okay, I'm not making assumptions. I already know that you don't know these things, so that's not an assumption. You've already let me know you don't know it, so I'm not making assumptions. You're the one making assumptions.
But Jason, if you don't live in a city, if you live somewhere, and I'm not talking like back of the woods, if you live somewhere.
Ma'am, it doesn't matter. I literally did the documentary about this. It's called Gentrified, Ethnic Cleansing American Style. And by the way, wait until I update that if I ever can get around to it. Ma'am, I literally did the only documentary that ever looked at this. You're not going to educate me about this. I have been all over this country, which is why when you all say what cities you're in, I can tell you exactly what's happening in those areas. I've made it my life's work to learn about my people's condition across this country. So you're not going to throw me a curveball and say, well, right outside the city, though. You're not going to throw me a curveball with that. It's not going to happen. You're learning. You're 27. These are things you have no idea about. No offense, you're learning. If you'll listen, you'll actually find out something. Now, you just made a statement.
I am listening, but I'm just trying to have a conversation too.
You cannot listen if you're talking. So let me illuminate one foundational principle right now. No offense, kid. You and I aren't peers. I know.
That's true.
I know you're learning. If you actually do want to learn something, you'll do a lot less talking, a lot more listening. Now, you made an assumption a few moments ago about how much you can do with $75,000. So why don't we go ahead and walk that through, shall we?
Okay.
All right. I'm going to be real nice and give you a 30-year mortgage. Let's go ahead and say, for case in point, let's just go ahead and make the house $400,000. That way we never have to move again. And by the way, in this market, $400,000 is kind of generous in a lot of these places here. We're going to start there so you don't have to do that anymore. All right, 400 G's. By the way, Rosa, what's the typical down payment on a house?
About 20%.
Okay. Now, you say 20%. In reality, you can pay as much as little as 10%.
Okay.
But all right, Rosa, how much is 10% of 400,000?
It is
Cheat code 40. Move the decimal point one place to the left, and you can find 10% of any value. So, pro tip for everybody, move the decimal point one place to the left, and that's 10% of any number. $40,000, that's 10%. Oh, but wait a minute. If you only pay down 10%, then you're going to have to pay for premium mortgage insurance. Ooh, you didn't know that. Now, the way you can get around having to pay for the premium mortgage insurance is if you pay 20% down. So what is 20% of 400,000?
80.
All right. So in other words, we'd have to write a check to the mortgage company for at least $80,000. And by the way, we're not counting inspection, closing costs, some of the other incidental things that go into purchasing a home, by the way. Not even counting those. We're just going to take the raw down payment. So 20% is $80,000. Do you know how much the average savings in the bank that the average black person has?
1,000.
She's young, y'all. She's young.
I've always heard it was $1,000 for the average American, but for the average black person, probably zero.
Remember, over 40% of the population in America could not absorb an unexpected $400 expense if they had to. Where black folk are concerned is more than 40%. The bottom line is, think about that for a few moments. I'll take your $1,000 figure though, okay? I'll take that one. So what you're saying is they have 1/80th what they need to be able to purchase a home.
Yeah, that's correct.
All right. 1/80th. You still think that's easy to do? You still think it's that easy? And it's not happening. Now, let's just say that the person is making, for example, the numbers you gave here before. Let's just say the person is making $75,000 a year. We'll just take that. How long will it take for them to save up $80,000 as a single individual?
About 12, 13 years.
Okay.
Assuming they make $6,000 a month after taxes.
Well, it won't take 12 or 13 years. That would be an absurdly long amount of time. But it's going to take them, even if they pinch as much as they can, it's probably going to take a couple of years at least. And now they're going to be shackled to something for 30 years. Buying a home used to be an investment. Today, it's iffy whether or not it really is. The reason why I walked you through that exercise is because I want you to understand that in the real world, when we sign our names on contracts to things, we're obligated to them. When you buy a house, and right now there's a lot of people who think we're in a housing bubble, and that would be a hell of a thing if that happened, that you pay $400,000 for a house, and then next year you look up and the house is worth $300,000. That's a hell of a way to go. That's a hell, and you got 30 years of overpayments to make on it. That's a hell of a way to go. It really is. And then on top of that, if you have a car, because you're going to need to go to work, if you have a car and any other expenses, those are going to eat up very, very quickly. So buying a home might not even be in your best interest. Might be, in a lot of places, it's cheaper to rent. It really is. These are decisions that have to be made as we go. I can tell you one thing. I try to teach you all one principle. It's not really your debt, it's your income that's the problem. Once your income is high enough, you can pretty much manage any debt. But I got to get you there first. And if you sit up and tell me that making $100,000 a year is good money, understand the way the male mind works, Rosa. For the male mind, we look for two things. We look for creature comforts and we look for sex. And we make enough money to satisfy whatever our desires are for creature comforts. And if the female that we're dealing with is willing to accept whatever level of creature comforts we provide, and she gives us sexual access, for the average male, for most males, guess what? That's it. We've reached our goal. Mission accomplished. Why do I need to try harder? I've already got everything. Why are you trying to make me work even more? I already got it all. And I explained this earlier when I was talking too, so apparently you weren't paying attention, because if you heard that call, you heard me explain all this before. The moment at which the female has sex with him, that's it. He's not going to put in any more effort. If he was able to, think about this for a moment. If a guy is dating Beyonce, for example, and Beyonce sleeps with him at whatever level of income he's given or whatever, that's it. That is all. He's not going to hurt himself to do anything beyond that. He's not. Hell, the more you think about it, he'd probably be a fool to do that. Why would he? If Kim Kardashian was willing to sleep with Pete Davidson, Kanye West bought her 5 My Box. Pete Davidson bought her a pizza. Why would Pete buy her 5 My Box if she was willing to sleep with him for a pizza? Why would he do that? If Beyonce is willing to sleep with a guy who's making $100,000 a year, why would that guy go out here and start trying to break his neck to make $500,000 a year? Why would he do that? You already bagged her. Why? You see, you're not thinking like a man. You're thinking like a female with all those typical female assumptions. You're not thinking like a man. In the male psyche, we are goal driven. Once we reach that goal, we're done. We stop. Now, you cannot subscribe to the mentality of ultra-driven, ultra-competitive individuals, because even at 27, I would hope you realize that most of the males you look at are not really competitive. They have differing degrees of competitiveness. Most of them are completely uncompetitive. Some are mildly competitive. And then there are a few who are ultra-competitive. But you cannot subscribe the attributes of the ultra-competitive to the average guy. And let's be clear, $50,000 a year is median income in America. That guy was making twice median income. In other words, he's twice than average. And for you, $100,000 sounds like a lot. It is until you start paying for things. It is until you start trying to figure out what you're going to do for the rest of your life. It is right up until then. Then you realize just how much it isn't.
Well, I make a lot less than $104,000.
Right.
And Jason, I'm just talking about it from my perspective. Obviously, I'm not a man, but I do pretty well for myself. I have a lot in savings, have assets and stuff like that. I mean, so I just cannot see how $104,000, unless you're talking about living a lavish lifestyle, which I'm not talking about.
Take a look at your screen.
At the average.
Take a look at your screen right now.
Yeah, I see the woman.
No,
I see the woman.
No, it's not a woman. It's the retirement calculator.
Oh, I don't see that. I had to show on pause.
Then you need to refresh your screen or something, but I don't want to hear my voice. In any case, I put up the retirement calculator again, and I showed you the numbers for a person who makes $80,000. Ma'am, they would only be able to retire for a few years. They'll run out of money before they run out of life. The other thing is, these are quality of life issues, okay? You're 27 years old. Well, I quote, I got some money in savings in the bank. That's great. That's wonderful. I hope it only gets bigger and better from here. Let me ask you a question. What kind of car do you drive?
I drive two. I drive both 2015s, a Lexus and a Honda.
Seems a bit of overkill for us there. That's great. 2015 Lexus, 2015 Honda. Very reliable cars. That's great. That's wonderful. What would you like to be driving in 10 years? What would you like to be driving in 10 years from now?
Honestly, both of my cars are paid off, so I'm fine just driving those. I'm very frugal, Jason.
Correct.
You should know that about me.
Correct.
So both of my cars are paid off.
Okay.
So
and
I'm okay
that, and just understand something. What you just did right there, that is the kiss of death. What you just did right there. Once, because your world is female centric, it's you centric. You're not taking into account the men at all. What you just told the men around you, I just want you to understand, you're 27 years old, and what you just told the men around you is Rosa can be had for a 2015 Lexus. I'm sorry, a 2015 Honda Accord. 2015. She can be had for a 2015 Honda Accord. That is the peak value that a man has to contribute to be able to get 27-year-old Rosa. Step right, everybody. She's light-skinned. She's got no kids. She's not grossly overweight. And she can be had for the low, low price of a Honda Accord. And by the way, she's telling...
no, I didn't think about it.
And
like
by
that.
the way, you'll be able to lock her down for the next 20 years. Because she just admitted that, by the way, 10 years from now, she will be perfectly fine still driving that Honda Accord.
Well, I thought you were asking, okay.
No, you heard,
So
no, Rosa, this is a teaching moment. You are young, just like with the house, just like with men's expectations. You didn't think this through. So what's happening right now is you're being given an opportunity to update your files and to update your lexicon so that you can see what some of the inadequacies and holes in your game are. You thought you knew what money was. You thought you knew what comfortable was. You thought you knew what financially stable was. You're finding out what it is. Finance is not a snapshot in time. Finance is a plan that spans years and decades. And what you're doing right now is either contributing to where you'll be in 5, 10, and 20. You're supposed to have a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, and a 20-year plan. What you're doing now either is contributing to each of those plans, or what you're doing now is deleting from them. One or the other. And what you're finding out is there's levels to this thing. That's what you're finding out. And I just wanted to take an opportunity here for you to actually think this over for a few moments, because you're not thinking that way. What you're thinking of is female survival tactics. And in the female psyche, they either overspend or they become hermits and Scrooge away as much as they can. And when you're young, you should learn how to be frugal. Absolutely. A person should learn how to be frugal so they're not overspending. And that way they learn eventually how to spend but not overspend. However, as I said, we're talking quality of life. And if you're in the same place at 37 that you were at 27, everybody, I say this every week now, don't I? If you're in the same place at 37 that you were at 27, you failed to mature as a person. You failed to make it. You're supposed to be in a different place in life at 27 than you were at 17. We all understand that. But guess what, Rosa? You're supposed to be in a different place at 37 than you were at 27. And you're supposed to be damn sure in a different place at 47 than you were at 27 or 37. So when you start telling men, I'm perfectly all right at being where I was at 37, where I was at 27, just understand you told the men what they need to do. And you're like, oh, wait, no, that's not what I meant. Yeah, that is. You just didn't know that's what you were saying. What you thought you were saying is, well, Jason, I'm going to show you I'm frugal. I can save up as much money. What you're telling the world is you come cheap. But you didn't think that's what you were saying.
I don't think that's what I'm saying. I think a woman who is my age and in my position, being frugal and not materialistic, looking to a man to buy me a bag and a Mercedes right away. I mean, sure, those kind of would be nice to have in the long run, but as of right now, Jason, I think from a very frugal mindset. So you got to work with me here. I'm not thinking about the baller status. I'm not thinking like that,
You know what? Nobody plans to fail. They just fail to plan. And that's really what it is. So if you ladies want to know how it is you all get into your 30s and the quality of man that you're with isn't up to code, it's because when you're in your teens and 20s, you don't have a criterion and a standard. And then in many cases, you get pregnant first, and then you think you're going to whip the guy into shape with your vagina later to get him to start producing, because you haven't got clear-cut rules and clear-cut standards before he ever walks in the room. What you just did is some of the most dangerous thing that a female can possibly do. I have guys all the time who sit up here talking about these females are just gold diggers. They're just gold diggers. A couple of weeks ago, some guy completely embarrassed himself calling me up. He's talking about, and he didn't want to have to sit up here and fight with these females like Dre did with his wife. I asked the guy how much he has. He said he had $40,000 in his savings account. He's going on 50 and got $40,000 in his savings account. I'm like, nigga, what kind of court battle do you think there's going to be over $40,000? He's got $40,000 in his IRA and yet was literally comparing himself to Dr. Dre. Literally was comparing his situation to Dre. $40,000. And you just sat here talking about, well, I'm not money grubbing. You drive a 2015 Honda. No offense. No offense. Baby, this is the time to be trying to get as much as you can. Because what's going to happen is you're going to try to... Okay. Do you think your cars matter to men?
No, they don't. But you just tried to go in on a Honda, and I'm curious why you left out the Lexus.
Because you own a Honda. When in reality, the Lexus would do just fine by itself. You own a Honda.
Okay. What's wrong with the Honda? You just said it was a reliable car.
Yeah, so is the Lexus. So in reality, you're being wasteful. Yeah. Why do you wouldn't need two cars? They're both essentially the same vehicle, and you're being wasteful. This is redundancy. So this is not actually frugality.
Well, I have one for work and one for fun. The Lexus is for fun. The Honda is for work.
So much for frugality.
I mean, well, Jason, they're both paid off.
So much for frugality.
Right, and I have a nice savings account, and I don't have any debt, no children. I do very well for myself, Jason.
Don't look now. You kind of disprove the frugality thing. But here's the thing. I'm not here to debate that with you. If you think that impresses me, okay, fine. I won't make a comment on that. What I will say is we don't call that money over here. You're 27. You're just starting out. What you're doing is you're saying the same things that most females say. You're trying to talk about what you don't need from a man. And what you will attempt to do in your 30s, as I was saying before you so rudely interrupted me, because you're 27 and you think you know it all, and you're going to find out how much you don't know very shortly. This phone call has really exposed you got a lot to learn, but okay, fine. Keep being a Miss Know-It-All. What you're going to attempt to do in your 30s is you're going to attempt to double back, is what you're going to try to do. And what you're going to do is you're going to get in your 30s, and you think what you're going to do is when you finally do realize, damn, a nigga paper got to be straight, because I realized that what I got ain't really no money, and I'm struggling because I found out what's really available out there, and my $50,000 a year job ain't going to cut it. And then you're going to try to bid your price up in your 30s. That's what you're going to try to do, with or without children. Usually they go off and go get a couple of bastard kids and then try to double back. But whether you have children or not, you're going to wait until you get in your 30s. And then all this stuff that you're talking about you don't need, and you think you're virtue signaling. And, oh, take a look, guys, I'm not a threat. I don't really need anything. I'm low maintenance. You think you're going to double back in your 30s and bid your price up. And I'm just telling you right now, it's not going to happen.
Jason, I never said that I didn't need a man for anything. I never claimed on this phone call that I didn't need a man for a car
yes, you
or
did.
anything.
Yes, you did.
That.
Yes, you did. As soon as you said,
maybe I said it
Rosa.
Maybe I said it indirectly,
ma'am,
but I didn't say it directly, Jason. I'm
not
a feminist.
We don't talk over the host here. That's not a very feminine thing to do. That's a very feminist thing to do. She's very frugal. She overbought. She was redundant in buying cars. She's not a feminist. She's just belligerent when she talks. A stew of contradictions.
No, because you're saying things
a stew of contradictions. No, ma'am. I'm saying.
I'm trying to have a simple
I am
conversation
saying
here.
what you said. You don't know what you're saying. You think you know what you're saying. And as I exposed before about the cars and what you don't need in 10 years, you don't actually know what you're saying. You just think you know what you're saying. But in reality, the moment you have to live with the ramifications of what you're saying, all of a sudden you want to double back and change what you meant. The reality is you don't actually know. And that's understood at 27.
I feel like you're playing.
But stop trying to act
I feel like
you
you're playing
do.
some kind of psychological game here with my words.
Okay. Rosa, let me try this a different way, because you claim to be a traditional Christian female, and yet you strike me, your behavior is just typical belligerent secular female.
I'm trying to have a conversation with you.
Okay.
I mean, a conversation. I'm listening, Jason.
Who are the people who taught you to talk over a man?
Jason, are we not having a conversation? I'm
I'm
listening
gonna
and
try
I'm trying
this.
to respond.
I'm going to try this one last time, not one more time. Who are the people who taught you that it was a desirable feminine trait to talk over a man? Especially one who is
No
old.
one has taught me that.
Especially a man who is literally old enough to be your father.
No one has taught me that.
Well, apparently you learned it somewhere, and you are on my phone exercising it to tremendous, horrendous extent.
I'm just trying to have a conversation.
Okay.
I'm listening.
I'm not trying to have a conversation. I'm trying to host a program. You asked a question. I am illuminating the flaws in your question. So just like the fellow who called me earlier, who learned from somebody else's call, I'm here to teach people from your call. And you getting defensive and getting your panties in a 8-ball knot, that's fine, but you cannot overtalk me while you do it. You can sit and be quiet and be offended. You cannot overtalk me and be offended. And furthermore, there is nothing that I have said that is wrong, inaccurate, or in error. Not about the house, not about the cars, not about the financing. Everybody listening to you right now is saying the same thing. The only person who doesn't get it is you. And at this rate right now, at 27, just understand, there's a reason why we're advising fellas now not to fool with a female over the age of 25. And you are Exhibit A of why we're telling them now. After 25, it becomes a very risky proposition because they become stubborn, loud. They're not in their 30s anymore doing this mess. They're in their 20s now doing it. She thinks because she's got a couple of beater cars that she's really got a handle on this. And we're all just sitting here like, oh, ain't she cute? But no, she's sassy and talking back and she's acting like she's an authority on this. And we're all just like, baby, you barely got the training wheels off. You literally don't know anything about buying a house, but yet you were suggesting how much $75,000 could buy. And you literally don't even know the basics. And when you're being instructed on it, you want to get falling back in your feelings as opposed to sitting back and being quiet and actually being gamed up so that tomorrow morning you're a smarter person than you were tonight. Instead, you're just trying to show how belligerent and resistant you can be. But let's be very, very clear about something. These are things I already know. I already took my hard way of learning things. You're 27. Your primary job in this world is to find a capable, resourceful, suitable male partner who will be able to keep you from struggling as you get older. That is your primary responsibility as a female, to find a competent, resourceful man who will take the load off of you. And everything you have said is as immature and high schoolish as hell. It really is. There is no plan here. There is no coherent thought here. You're just all over the place. And if you would listen, you could get that corrected. Instead, you want to be told that you're right. You're not right. You're just a chick who bought a car. Congratulations. That's called adulthood. What it's not called is a plan. That's all. And any fella listening right now who is over the age of 30 will be able to bed you and every damn thing else he wants to, and will not have to contribute anything to your life. Because you've already given away all the cues, even though you didn't realize it. I was trying to tell you and you got offended when somebody told it to you. You've given all the cues that a man can have his way with you and ain't got to contribute anything concrete. because you think you're virtue signaling by talking about what you said. Well, I'm not materialistic. You said that as if that was something to be proud of, because you didn't understand what you were really saying. Well, I'm low maintenance. Yeah, I've heard that kind of stuff too. You're already off the peak of your sexual viability. You're already coming off the peak of it. The problem with leaving your 20s is it doesn't get any better. You're not going to get any more attractive than you are right now. From here, it either goes down quickly or it goes down slowly, but guess what? It's not going to go up. You're done going up. And what you're going to, right now is the time for you to be trying to extract maximum benefits. That's the time to be doing it right now. Instead, every word you said is, I don't need to do that. I'm low maintenance. I don't need to do any of that. I mean, it's not like I'm gold digging it like that. It's not like I need to sit up here. I'm not money grubbing. Yeah. And to a man who's actually got his act together, he can take it or leave it. What you want to be is a female who is worth getting $1 million spent on her. Now, there's something you never heard before. Your job is to be a female who is worth getting that, so that you can qualify for a man, the best quality man who can take the load off of you, so that you can come into your femininity, because this is some super major macho butch behavior on this phone. There's nothing feminine on my phone right now. This is not feminine at all. There's nothing on this phone that makes a man want to take out a mortgage and make your life easier. Nothing. The only thing that this phone call has shown is you be suitable for angry sex, and then they send you on your way. There's nothing that would make a man say, damn, I want her to stay. This is a disciplinary problem. And it's your job to convince some man out there to sacrifice his life, literally, his income, his well-being, his efforts, so he can dedicate that to you. That's what you're supposed to be doing. And this phone call has done exactly the opposite.
Well, Jason, to be fair, we've been on this phone for 47 minutes. You can't judge my character, my entire character, based off a 47-minute phone call. You don't know me in real life, Jason.
Yes, I can. And this is real life. Actually, this phone call is real life. So yes, I do know you in real life.
But you don't know me day to day.
No, I don't. I don't need to know you day to day. See, that's another fallacy of your youth and inexperience. See, as young as you are, you're still figuring it out. Once we get our age, baby, I've met you 50 times in my life by now. I've met you 50 times over. It's not new. Just it's a different name from a different city. Same chick I met the last 49 times. As I said,
okay.
As I said, you're the one who doesn't know. And by the way, take a look at the chat. Everybody else sees it. By the way, I'm not the only one. Take a look at it. Everybody else sees it.
I'm reading the chat, Jason. I'm reading the chat. And yeah, I'm 27. I do have a lot to learn. I'm not sitting here saying I know everything. I'm still learning, but I can say at 27, Jason, you know this as well as everyone else in the chat knows this, that I am in a way better spot than a lot of other men and women my age and even older, Jason. That's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to be combative or anything like that. I'm just saying, I know this, I'm not basing my prestige or whatever off materialistic cars, but for the sake of this conversation and because we're talking about money, I brought those things up as an example, and my savings account and things as an example. I'm not some bum here on your broadcast telling you I make $25,000 a year and I got one baby daddy and all this. Okay. I'm not like that, Jason.
What is it that makes a man valuable?
What he's able to provide for the woman, yes.
Okay. And what is it that makes a female valuable?
What she's able to provide for him is she's able to be his helpmeet.
No.
Because the woman was created for the man.
No. What makes a female valuable in this world is the quality of the man that she is able to get to take up with her. You see her job, her degree, her cars. Those are irrelevant. If none of those acquire a high quality man, then they're useless. And right now, you have a job, you got cars, you might have a degree. None of those things matter. None of those improve your status.
No.
None of those things, you say, I'm doing a whole lot better than other people. None of those things impress other females. Other females are not impressed by your car. And guess what? Men are not impressed by your car either. The only thing that would impress other people, the only thing that would raise your status is the quality of man you are able to attract. Now, that's the only thing that raises your status. That's the only thing that makes you valuable. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, I said the woman is supposed to be a helpmeet for the man, not what she. Not, that didn't mean what assets she can provide for the man. What I meant there, she's supposed to be there to support him.
Okay. Supporting him is supporting him as a. There are plenty of females who have a high quality man and they're not very supportive. You have a lot to learn. You're not going to sit here and save face and explain this stuff away. You're explaining right now. If you were really learning, you just soak up the game. Stop trying to save face. That's youthful ignorance talking. Stop trying to save face. You can't learn if you're constantly sitting there trying to figure out how you can rewrite history to make yourself correct. You learn by listening very carefully when you're being corrected.
So the woman is not okay. So the woman is not supposed to be the helpmeet for the man. I'm a little confused, Jason, because on Friday's broadcast, you quoted a scripture from the Bible, and I told you that I'm a Christian. So according to the Bible, the man
I quoted what scripture from the Bible?
Other way around.
I quoted what scripture from the Bible?
You said, "What God has joined together, let no man put us under."
Okay, put us under, not us under. Asunder. A-S-U-N-D.
Yes, that's what I meant.
A-S-U-N-D-E-R. That's the word. The word is asunder.
Yeah, that's what I said.
A-S-U-N-D-E-R.
Put us under. Yes.
Yes, not us under. Us under. In any case, that was the only script. I quoted that one. And by the way, I quoted that one.
Okay. Yes.
And by the way, I'm not even sure if that's a scripture, to be totally honest. I'm not so sure. That's marriage vows. I'm not so sure that's a scripture. Those are marriage vows.
It actually is a scripture.
Okay. Those I'll swallow that one if that's the case. I'm not so sure that's a scripture. I know those are marriage vows. What I will say is I didn't say anything about helpmeets.
But you asked me a question, so I answered it in that way.
I didn't say anything about helpmeets. You might have me confused with some fraudulent people out there.
So you don't believe a woman is there to support the man?
She better be a woman is there to only do one thing: demonstrate to him that she is his best option. Now, it is up to the man what he's looking for. But if she wants to qualify for a quality male, she needs to demonstrate to him that she is his best option. Best option for what? Best option for what he's looking for.
What is the role? What is the woman's role in a marriage for a man?
To demonstrate to him that she is his best option.
Okay, and how does she do that? How does she demonstrate that on a daily basis to the man?
Okay, who is the man?
She's his best option.
The only caveat there is who is the man that she wants.
Jason, that doesn't make any sense.
Yes,
a woman
it does.
and a man in a marriage on a daily basis, what is the role of a woman to a man?
Every
If
man,
you ask a man,
every man is not looking for the same thing. There are general things that men are looking for. Every man's not looking for the same thing. But I can tell you the things they're not looking for. They're not looking to have their peace of mind disturbed. They're not looking for a combative bulldog who is questioning them all the time. There was never a man who said, "I wish I had a more argumentative young female." Never one who said that.
Jason, come on. I'm not being argumentative here. Okay, we can have a healthy debate here. That doesn't mean that someone's arguing. You can have a healthy debate, okay? just simple dialogue back and forth. That's it. I'm not, calling anyone names. I'm not raising my voice. I mean, I'm just trying to have a healthy discussion here. That's all. And I'm trying to answer your question. I just would like to know, what is the purpose that a woman is supposed to serve to the man, and vice versa. I know the answer to that, I'm pretty sure, according to scripture.
Okay. The problem is, if people don't subscribe to your scriptures, now what?
Well, then, that doesn't change the facts. It still doesn't change the facts. I believe the Bible is facts. That's what I base my life off of. I'm not perfect, but that's what as far as relationships go, that's what I base my life off of.
You believe that the Bible you believe the Bible is fact, and yet you are sitting here arguing that the marriage vows come from the Bible, when in reality they don't. So I question what you actually know about the Bible either.
Well, the Bible does lay out a good example of what marriage is supposed to be as far as roles. For
You
both men and
literally
women.
sat here, and I let you keep going because I wanted everybody to hear that. By the way, she was sitting here arguing with me about the origin of the marriage vows, and I said, by the way, I don't think that comes from scripture. I was trying to be nice, and you sat there, yes, it does, and you don't even have a clue, but you just are arguing, not because you're correct, but because you just want to believe that you're right. She's 27 years old, and she is a hell to deal with. And
Jason, in
you
Mark
need to be much
10,
more concerned about that than anything else.
Okay, well, that is in the Bible. You can look it up yourself. All you have to do is type it into Google. So it's in the Bible. But I'm just trying to answer you asked me a question, Jason. I'm just trying to answer it. That's all. And you did not give me a concrete answer. You just kind of said, I forget exactly what you said, but you didn't give me a concrete answer. That's not, I asked a very specific question. I said, what value, if a woman is supposed to be the helpmeet to the man, then what value on a daily basis is she supposed to give to the man? Now, I've always heard that she's supposed to be there to support him. So I told you, I'm not a feminist. I'm the exact opposite. So the woman is supposed to be there to support the man.
Ma'am, you don't know your Bible. You believe things, but you don't actually know things. And to be 27 years old and this far along and this stubborn, and by the way, going around looking for people to argue with, just understand this is one of the primary, most unattractive traits that a person can have. And you're only 27. 27.
Jason, what is wrong with asking questions? I'm just asking questions here.
Okay.
Why is it now that all the guys want to say asking questions means you're being combative? That's manipulation, Jason.
Rosa,
that's manipulation.
it is not up to the men to be comfortable with your level of irritation. It is up to you, as I said, to prove to the men that you are their best option. And you have failed that test. With flying
on
colors.
58-minute phone call, but in real life, I have not, Jason. In real life, I have not. You do not know me on my day-to-day life.
Then
you don't know me.
Then I think for a person who has this many questions and then to turn around and talk about what you haven't failed, and yet you have nothing but questions. If you knew so much, you wouldn't have any questions. You'd be executing your knowledge.
Not necessarily, Jason. Everybody has questions. I don't know it all, Jason. I've said that several times. I said I do not know it all.
We couldn't tell from this phone call.
Which is why I'm asking questions. And
but you're not really interested in answers. So,
I am interested in the answers, but just because you give me an answer doesn't mean I don't have another question.
You're not very interested in answers. Boy, I know another highly annoying 27-year-old female who says the exact same sentence. This must be a thing. In any case, Rosa, I think I've extended as much time as I can. I don't think it's going to get any further. I think at this point, though, life's experiences will do a lot to teach you. I just had another young lady who called me when she was 27. She didn't like what I had to say then. Life has taught her some new lessons since then, and now she sees things a little bit differently. It looks like in your case, it's going to have to do the same thing. So, since you will not accept what you do not know from someone else's analysis, then perhaps you will accept what you do not know from your learned experiences. So, in that case, I suggest you do that and call us back in a year. And we'll see if you still
I'll call you before then.
No. Don't do that. That's quite all right. Why don't you call us back in a year and we'll see what you think then. "27 years old. 27 years old. Claiming things are in the Bible that are not. No, what God has joined together, let no man separate. Not the same thing, but all right. Whole different thing for it, but okay, fine. Even when she's corrected on it, she's just determined she's going to be right. If you want to know why it is that men don't like marrying lawyers or don't like dating female lawyers or female therapists, yeah, a female who tells you that she's right no matter what, that everything she does is correct, she's right, she's correct. Even if she's totally wrong, you show her she's wrong, now you're in the wrong for pointing out that, by the way, she was incorrect the whole time. She wants to be treated better than she treats you. She's correct every time you turn around, and then can't figure out why she is alone. 27. If anybody was wondering why we tell the guys, don't fool with them after 25, that phone call right there. Fellas ain't got time to sit around and wait like that. There's a Liz or there's somebody else. Fellas don't have time to wait around like that. Men don't have forever to wait around for you to decide, okay, you want to stop one bad behavior, oh, and then another one over there, and then a few years later you'll drop some other piece of crap behavior. Men don't have years to wait and decades to fall off the calendar waiting for you to drop every bad habit that you have. All these negative characteristics you've picked up, men don't have time for that. Men are trying to figure out, okay, where do I need to be so I can get back to focusing on my purpose? Who's the female who's not standing in the way of that? Let me just ask a bunch of questions. Let me be belligerent. You were not asking questions. She was being argumentative. Oh, well, it's just a conversation. You're arguing. You were instructed on what it was. I literally, when I told her that stuff is not in the Bible. Yes, it is. Okay. Would anybody like to put some money on her cat fund by the time she's 37? Is there anyone who would like to put money on her Meow Mix fund? By the way, the females who are completely intolerable, you notice they don't have children, or if they may have children, they don't have a man. They got kids and pets. Would anybody like to put some money on the Meow Mix fund? Caller from area code 718. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
DW from Woolwich, New Jersey.
DW from New Jersey. What's on your mind?
So I'm off to a decent start building and producing for my family. And question I have is, should I use my additional income to pay off my mortgage, or should I be investing in other things instead?
Okay. How much do you have in savings?
$40,000.
Okay. You have $40,000 in savings. How much do you owe on your mortgage?
$387,000.
Huh. How exactly you owe $387,000? You have $40,000 in mortgage. How's that gonna help knock off that mortgage?
Well, I just started making a big chunk. Like you said in your previous broadcast,
Okay.
I was able to
Leave the
make
mortgage
additional
alone.
money.
Leave the mortgage alone. Just stay up to date on your payments. The only thing you do right now is deplete your savings and be cash poor. So, no, there's no reason to do that. What do you do for a living?
I'm a senior operations manager.
Okay, that doesn't mean
Supply
anything
chain
at all.
management.
How much do you make?
$206,000.
Okay, well, that's not bad there either. Do you have any kids?
I'm married with 2 children.
Okay, does she work?
Not right now.
Yikes. All right.
Well, we just had our son.
Okay, all right. And he lives in Jersey. So he's carrying all the family load. He lives in Jersey. He doesn't have any help with it. And he's trying to figure out what he can do with $40,000 in the bank. How long has she not been working?
Only about 6 months.
Okay, time to sit down and have a meeting where you all discuss what the financial picture is going to look like and what her responsibilities in it will be. We just had a kid. Okay, the kid's going to get old enough. They can go to school. She doesn't need to be sitting around the house. Did you marry her as a stay-at-home mom? I mean, did you marry her as a stay-at-home wife?
I did not. She worked for the state social worker.
Okay, oh boy, he married a social worker. Boy, you guys. All right. What could possibly go wrong here? How much does she weigh?
Yeah. Oh, she's only 140.
I got questions about that, brother. All right, dude. Well, in any case, like I say, all things being equal, you're gonna have to sit her down and say, you're gonna have the, hey, I didn't marry a stay-at-home wife. So, but the other thing is, you're gonna have to give a financial plan. You can't just sit up and say, okay, go to work. Where are we going? If you're gonna put money in the bank, y'all need to have a specific amount you're gonna put in the bank. If you need to get a certified financial planner, that's fine. But you need to actually have a plan for what you're gonna do. That's something that she can plug into and that she can buy into. And then you can start doing that. But you can't just say, okay, get up off your ass and go back to work. Because she does need to do that. But you need to have a plan, brother. You need to have a plan. And $40,000 is not going to get you very far on that. Unless you have some extra skill that you can use or she does. Other than that, no.
Got it. Yeah, she was talking about a business, some kind of party business that she wanted to get into, but
I mean, I don't have an issue. I don't have an issue with that. However, understand a business is a job. You're going to work more hours than you've ever worked. So you don't just start a business off we go. And I'm not a fan of getting involved in any business you don't have experience in. So if it's not something she has experience in and knows about the ins and outs, I'm not a big fan of doing something like that. You don't start a business on experimentation. You start a business because you've already got experience in doing it. And now you just want to do it on your own as opposed to working for somebody else.
Got it.
But right now, yeah, because you're not going to just save up much money the way you're going. It's going to be very hard to do that. Either that or you're going to have to take out a loan. And I'm just saying, having money in the bank makes it easier to take out a loan. So got to patch some holes together there. But more than anything else, it's time to sit her down and have a conversation with her about when she's going back to work and why.
Got it. Yeah, she does not want to go back to work. So,
well, I mean, yeah, that's great and everything. But the thing is, you didn't marry her as a stay-at-home wife. Now she's quit work because ostensibly she had a baby.
Yeah.
Okay, now she wants to be a stay-at-home mom. So my real thing about that is just understand, I mean, she's probably going to try to milk a couple of years out of that. So you're kind of in the middle of that at this point. And that's the only issue with that. Yeah. You're kind of in the middle of this at that point. So she's going to try to milk that. She's like, oh, hell, you make enough money, so let's go ahead and see if we can crack the whip on you more. By the way, when she got pregnant, did you all discuss what the post-pregnancy was going to be like?
We did discuss that, and that was more or less her returning to school for a master's, which I don't agree with at this point. Like, it would just be spending money just for debt. And then kind of the business was like later in the conversation, and that's where we are right now.
So in other words, you all didn't have a plan. So in other words, you didn't have a post-pregnancy plan.
I did not have a post-pregnancy plan for what she would be doing because I didn't need her finances.
Right. And as the head of household, you need to be in charge of all the finances because you're supposed to have say of all of it. Otherwise, because at the end of the day, when women screw up, everything falls on us. That's the reason why women talk stupid about, being strong and independent. But the bottom line is women are full of crap. When things go bad, it all falls on us. That's why we can't play around about that. And you can't have anybody like the previous caller. You can't have anybody who's not on board with the program. Because when her ignorance runs out and things go south, it's going to fall on us. It's going to fall on us. So no, you got to be in charge of everything. Because at the end of the day, when her plan fails, it's going to fall on you. Which is exactly where we're at right now.
Yeah, I do have trepidations about that business. So I think that's probably something I should probably attack first.
Well, the answer is, like I say, don't get involved in any business that you don't have experience in. You're not qualified to run it. When you're a business owner, everybody's looking at you for the answers. If you don't have all the answers, you should not start the business. You can't get all the answers without experience, period. A business is not for on-the-job training. So definitely you need to sit her down. First of all, you need to decide what the long-term plan is going to be. Where are we going? What kind of life are we going to be living in 10 years? Then you determine how you're going to get there. And then you sit her down and let her know where her place is in the bigger picture.
Got it.
Simple as that. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Like I say, definitely, I know some of you fellas out there, y'all done got yourselves into a little bit of a bind in some of these situations, and I get it. You're going with the best of intentions, but you have to plan these things out. Trust me, you don't look to fail. Nobody plans to fail. They just fail to plan. And there they are. I think it was educational here tonight. I think folks learned a lot. I think there was a lot to learn. And man, going forward here, fellas, got to get your acts together all the way around. This is how you avoid issues. Maybe everything you bring home ain't going to be a bug or wolf, but boy, life is too short to be bringing home a bunch of damn headaches. It's too short to be bringing home a bunch of damn problems. Make the right call, fellas. Make the right call. If you are new here to the business, welcome to the program that laid the foundation upon which all of you red pill, MGTOW, high value posers and frauds are going to rip off and steal everything that they'll be putting on their channels next week. We're putting it on here now. Getting ready for the Galentine's Day program. Can't wait till they start stealing that one. This one's going to stay on YouTube, so you all can sit back and enjoy. A whole lot for you to learn here tonight. A lot of game to soak up. YouTube was messing with us, but we powered through it here. So get ready to join us for the next broadcast of the program. And if you haven't checked out the Patreon, you want to be there for that as well. To my man Antonio, thank you very much for contributing in the super chat. We appreciate that. Feminine Divine, Elephant Room 219, and everybody who's contributed tonight on PayPal, Cash App, or otherwise. Thank you very much for your support. I appreciate that. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Business. I'm your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business or your business will handle you.